What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Let's go. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Hope everyone had a wonderful day. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful day. Today, the first day of the new year. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Brian in the chat. What's going on, bro? We got Travel to Caribbean, Alexis, Galactic Games, JJ, Antonio, Justin, Lily. What's going on, Lily? Good to see you. Shout out to you, Lily. We got Willie in the chat. Good to see everybody, man. Hope everyone had a wonderful day once again. Today we are flying the beautiful 777 FedEx over to Minneapolis. Shout out to Justin for this amazing flight suggestion. We got Jesse in the house. What's going on, Jesse? All right, here we go. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. All right, guys. So today we will be having Captain Nick on with us. He is captain on flight attendant on Southwest 737 Boeing. So looking forward to that. He'll be on in about 10 minutes or so. Well, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. What's up, Jesse? All right, let me go ahead and get this takeoff started. Look at that beautiful Air Canada 777. Sheesh. Alexis said, do you see me in the air? I see a few of you guys, man. Let me go ahead and take off real quick. Positive air gear up. All right, we got Rock Out in the chat. What's up, Rock Out? Yes, sir, you are early tonight. Good to see you. We got Adam in the chat. Let's get it. Adam, good to see you, bro. Adam, how you doing, man? Hope all is well. All right, so good evening to everyone. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day once again. Gavin, good to see you, bro. We just headed over to the beautiful Minneapolis tonight. All right, so we're going to switch on live weather, see how live weather looks, but this scenery looks beautiful with the snow. It is not snowing right now in Louisville, so let's going to switch over to live weather. Oh, wow. Okay, it's a little bit cloudy here in Louisville. But once again, guys, we'll be having the real-life Captain Nick on the phone in the next 5 minutes or so. Feel free to ask him any questions you guys have. All right. Let me know what you guys had for dinner. Good to see you guys once again. Let me see. Justin said, let's go. First day of the new year. It's my flight. Yes, sir. You got it right. Lily says she's going to fly today. What? Let's go. Lily, that's awesome. Lily, what plane are you going to fly? That is awesome. Brian said, what's up, Rock Out? Have your afternoon nap. That is hilarious. Good to see you once again, Adam. Let me see. Travel Crib said, Trill Trip, how does it feel to have been live for every day in 2024? Feels great, man. Feels great. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get this out of the way early. Let us know what flight you guys have in mind. We're looking for a 45-minute flight for the next flight. So we're going to get the vote running, and then we'll call Captain Nick. Have him on the line, so feel free to suggest any 45-minute flight you guys have in mind. Is that Jesse or Justin in the F-22? Who is that? Let me see. I can't really see the name tag. That is Justin. Let's get it. Shout out to everyone that's flying with us, man. I see Brian. I see LHM. I see Antonio. I see Willie. I see D-Weed. I see Lily Pink. Wait, is that Lily? Wait, hold up. Is that Lily flying in the back right there? Let's get it, Lily. Good to see you. Lily's flying the Dark Star. That is amazing. Lily, that's awesome. First time ever you're flying with us. That is pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. Shout out to you, Lily. Thank you so much for flying with us tonight. Yeah, Justin always flies the F-22. Sometimes he changes and fly the 747 or the 777. JJ, much love, man. Thank you so much. Rylan, I see you flying there. I see JJ flying the beautiful Airbus A330. Awesome. All right, so let's get the flights ready for next flight after this. W for Lily indeed, man. Shout out to Lily. That is awesome. Great to have you up here with us. And you're flying amazing, Lily. What? Lily, you're a way better pilot than me. Shout out to you. All right. Tiger, what's up, man? He said Atlanta to Jacksonville, Florida. All right, let's go to get the flights ready. Next flight. Start the poll. And let me see the options that you guys have. Alrighty. Tracy, good to see you. We got Lily's mom in the chat. Lily's mom and dad. Shout out to the family, the Wang family. Jesse, Tracy, and Lily. Good to have you guys on. First time ever flying with Lily. See, your dad is flying for me right now. Hey, shout out to Jesse. That is awesome. Once again, Happy New Year to everyone, man. All right, so the first suggestion I see, let me scroll up. I think I missed a few suggestions. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful new year once again. Appreciate you guys so much. So once again, Captain Nick will be on for the next flight. So he will be on. So if you guys have any questions about being a pilot for Southwest or being a pilot in general, same questions, feel free to ask. Let me see. Okay, somebody said Atlanta to Jacksonville, Florida. That's a great suggestion. Nice short flight. Beautiful. Atlanta to Jacksonville. Brian, how you doing, bro? We had an amazing flight yesterday, man. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not our usual time, but it was fun. Real fun. Ryan, good to see you, man. Much love to you. Tracy said, isn't Lily awesome? She is awesome. Shout out to Lily once again. Thank you so much for hopping on. All right, so we got Atlanta to Jacksonville, Florida already. Any more suggestions? We got Tampa to Miami from Brian. Beautiful suggestion, Brian. I think we got a suggestion from Rockout. He said ATL to MCO. That's a little bit longer, Rockout. That's about an hour and change. That's about an hour and change. Let me see. See, Atlanta the airport with fireworks going off. I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator had that option. They only have the option in I think it's Dallas, and it has to be at 12 o'clock on the 4th of July. 12 at night. But once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Let me see any more suggestions. We have 2 so far. We have Atlanta to Jacksonville. We got Tampa to Miami. What's up, Amar? It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Let me see. Yeah, for the 4th of July. Yeah, if we change the time to the 4th of July, that's the only time we can get to see the fireworks. Columbus to DC. All right, let's put that in. Shout out to you, Antonio. To DC. And then Rockout says CLT to FLL. CLT is Charlotte, right? I gotta double check real quick. That is a long flight, Rockout. Travel Caribbean, we try to stay away from Las Vegas and Los Angeles because that always wins the poll, so we try to keep it fair. Let me see. Lily said it's fun flying. It's awesome flying with you, Lily. Much love to you. Adam said do a around the world flight, multiple fuel stops, of course, but that would be cool. Yeah, that would be awesome indeed. Yeah, we could probably start that soon, honestly. We can start from, where will we start from? But that means if we do around the world, that means we have to eventually do 7 to 8 hour flights, transatlantic. That's going to be a long flight. We're going to have to skip that one. Nah, you good, Rockout. Once again, hope everyone is having a wonderful night. Make sure you guys smash the like button once again. Listen, island hopping, that's a good suggestion too, Brian. Justin. I think we did island hopping a few times last year. It was amazing. So we definitely can do some island hopping. If anybody have any suggestions for a nice Caribbean flight tonight, feel free to let me know. Honolulu to Maui. Awesome. All right, so let's gonna put that in there. Perfect. Shout out to you, Brian. To Maui. One of my goals I want to do next year, this year I want to really finish a flight that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's Los Angeles over to Hawaii. That's one of my big flights I've always wanted to get done. Haven't gotten a chance to do it yet. That flight is super long, but hey, gotta check it out. All right, so it's a Cayman to Kingston, Jamaica. That's a little bit short. All right, so we got our flight suggestion. Thank you guys so much for your suggestions. 45-minute flights. We have Atlanta to Jacksonville, Tampa to Miami, Columbus to DC, and Honolulu to Maui. Feel free to vote for the suggestion that you want to go to. Much love to you guys, man. Hope everyone is having a wonderful night again. Thank you guys so much for 17 likes. Sheesh. But yeah, Adam, you just gave an amazing idea just now. You mentioned about the Around the World tour. We did an Around the USA tour a long time ago, but Around the World sounds great. So we can probably start somewhere in the US. Yeah, I like it. I like that. Australia, Europe. Yeah, definitely can do that for sure. All right, so right now to vote. Honolulu to Maui's in the lead with 38%. Let me know what you guys have for dinner. Much love. I know a lot of people sometimes go to the restaurants on the first day of the year. Shout out to Brian. Brian made some amazing food and posted in the Discord. That was awesome. Adam said, hey Lily, awesome looking Dark Star officially named the SR-72. Let's go. Yeah, Lily's doing some awesome flying. I see Jesse now. Jesse's now flying with us in that beautiful F-22. You guys Justin off to our right also. All right, so let's go to make this right turn, and at this time I'm gonna go. He said Honolulu to Miami to Maui. Seems popular like every week. Yes, sir. And we haven't done that in a few weeks, Gator. Let me see. Yeah, Brian, he made some black-eyed peas with some ham hocks and bacon and oh man. As soon as I saw that notification, Brian, I opened the Discord. I'm like, yo, that picture looked amazing. I gotta have to show it on the stream in a few minutes here. Yeah, JJ, much love to you, man. Appreciate you. Let me go ahead and actually turn that right on now. Thank you so much for reminding me about TikTok. I gotta start TikTok up real quick. I'm telling you, man, I love the YouTube family so much, man. I forget about a TikTok sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but shout out to you, JJ, for always reminding me about TikTok. He said we could also do a race from one airport to another. Honestly, man, you know for sure that Brian would win that race. Brian would 100% win that race. I don't know. So I would be outside of the race for sure. The Dark Star, I think Lily hopped off. Oh, she is fine. Wait. So Lily and Jesse is fine at the same time. That's pretty cool. Wait. I saw Jesse over here 1 second ago, and now I see Lily over here. That is awesome. Yeah. This is the closest we can get to the Dark Star. Shout out to you, Lily. Awesome flight. Let's go. We got Kijo in the chat. Good to see you, Kijo. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is having a wonderful night once again as we're flying the beautiful 777 FedEx over to the beautiful, I think it's Minneapolis. All right, so let's see if we can go ahead and give Captain Nick a call. We're going to find, there we go. Oh, okay, I got you, Racco, because I was wondering what you was talking about, but that's awesome, man. We got Addie in the chat. Good to see Addie. I'll see you on TikTok. All right, guys. So right now we're giving Captain Nick a call right now. So we're gonna say what's up to Captain Nick in a few minutes. Here, Alabama Mission. Hey, Captain Nick, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing good, man. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to put you on speakerphone so I can.
Got you. No problem. Jesse said you had set up on a laptop. Oh, got you, Jesse. That makes sense. Awesome. Gavin, you should probably fly like a 737 or so. Yeah. That'll be fine.
All right, you still there, buddy?
Yes, sir. You hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I just never know how to put you on
Awesome. Even though you are very familiar on this channel, everybody knows it. Still got to give you an introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the awesome Captain Nick. He's a captain for a flight on Southwest. Amazing guy. He answers a lot of questions about piloting. If you want to become a pilot, feel free to ask him any questions. He's an awesome guy, and he's been a part of our family for a few weeks, few months now. So we are glad to have him on the team. So once again, shout out to Captain Nick. Thank you so much for being on with us, man. Much love to you. Awesome. But yeah, so Captain Nick will be flying with us on the second flight tonight. But for now, he'll just be here chilling with us and answering any questions you guys have. So Adam never met you before, Captain Nick. Okay, nice. So basically, Adam is a longtime member of the channel, but he hasn't been on when you're been on before. So this is the first time he's hearing from you. So that's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. So we're getting a bunch of hellos in the chat. Antonio said hello. Adam said hello. So if you guys have any questions for Captain Nick about his job working as a captain on Southwest, feel free to ask. But once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Alrighty. So Captain Nick, how you been, man? How's your flights been? How have you experienced any craziness, any unruly passengers, any delayed flights? How is your schedule looking?
No, not since the last time you guys talked.
Awesome. What would you say the best route so far this well, not this year, this is the first day, but since the last time we spoke in a few weeks ago? Any specific routes?
I've been home, thankfully. So
awesome.
Yeah, I've been home with family. I got the New Year's with them. I got Christmas with them. So I've been 2 weeks. I've been home, or a little
really
over 2 weeks,
awesome.
actually. Yeah,
that's one thing people don't know about being a pilot. Everyone think you gotta always like work and miss your family and never see your family. Sometimes you do get time off to relax and be with your family and kids. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I'm very fortunate. I think this month I'll actually have 20 something days off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was like we talked about last time, right? It's a lot of time off, but when I'm gone, I am gone. Like I am truly I'm not coming home that night. I'm not, I don't get to start the morning off with my family and have breakfast with them. But like when I'm home, I am truly home, which is great. I mean, I can put my phone in a desk drawer if I want to. So
that is awesome. That is awesome. Shout out to James.
Because I miss your streams and stuff, but
I appreciate you so much for watching the streams, man. I really appreciate you. Shout out to James when I see you first time, seeing you for the 2024. Much love to you. Adam said, so Captain Nick, how long have you been flying in general? Oh yeah, how long have you been flying?
So I was flying before I was driving. So I've been flying for a very long time, but professionally since 2008. So what is that, going on 16 years now?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, that's a long time. So you do have a lot of experience. That is, you're the type of pilot I would love to have on my flight. I love experienced pilots that's been flying their whole life, and I feel so comfortable. That is pretty cool. Cameron, shout out to Arkansas. Shout out to you, man. Another question from Kijo. He said, how accurate is the movie from the Hudson River movie? I don't know if you've ever seen it, the remake.
Yeah. Sully.
Yeah.
It does a good job. They did, obviously you've got to throw in some Hollywood magic and whatever. But no, that movie, they did a good job of portraying what it's like. So like, that whole thing, man, from the time they took off to the time they were in the water was like a few minutes. So they make it seem actually longer than it was, to show cinematics and drama. But the crazy thing is, don't quote me, but it was like 200 and something seconds from the time they hit the bird to the time they were in the water. So like a few minutes. And so everything happened very, very fast for them.
Yep.
And, after that, it's like, obviously our sole thing is safety. And then we're looking at, where's my passengers? Are they okay? What do I need to do? And then after that, it's boom, the FAA is taken over, and it's, we're off to get blood drawn. We're off to get, the whole forensic lab drawn up to make sure, because God forbid, right? Like someone was, impaired or whatever. Like they want to know that immediately. So, and then there's a huge investigation, and they're going to take that plane apart, bolt by bolt, nut by nut. I mean, they will reconstruct that plane down to the wire and see what happened and exactly how it happened, and you better be right in your decision, because that's what we talked about that last time, right? Like when they made that decision on the Hudson, dude, you've got to be 100% right, not 99, not 98. Like you better be 1000% right, because if you could have made it back to an airport you just put 200 people's lives in danger by going into the water. So it's accurate. It's just, it's not perfect. Like I said, there's drama that's added in maybe, but yeah, it's no joke.
Well, that's crazy, man. The fact that he had to make this decision so quickly is very, very scary, but he made it an awesome decision. So I'm glad that everything worked out. Yeah, we have shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Cameron in the chat. Shout out to you. He said you're in Arkansas. Shout out to you from Arkansas. Gavin, good to see you. Let me see. Benjamin, welcome to the stream. Happy New Year to you too. Appreciate you guys so much. Runaway Goose, welcome to the chat. We have some more questions for Captain Nick. Somebody asks, Captain Nick, Happy New Year. What airline do you work for? Southwest. Yeah, I work for Southwest. But great. We have another great question here. Captain Nick, do airlines pay for your rooms? That is a great question, Willie. Does airlines
so that was
pay for your
that was
rooms?
asked earlier, and I was like, please ask that again in the stream.
Yeah.
So, yes and no.
Ooh.
So while I'm on a trip, yes, my rooms are completely taken care of by the company. They set up our transportation. So when I land, I've got a car there waiting for us. I've got rooms waiting for us. But like we were talking about last time, commuting. So like when we used to live out of base, I had to use my own time and obviously my family's to get to and from work. And if I had to go in like the night before, which I had to do many times, then that room is on me. Now there are some airlines who have, in their contract, and that's why like contracts are so important, because on some airlines they're like, okay, well, if you're a commuter, you get 3 hotels a month to use, for work. Yeah. I didn't have that luxury, so like every time we had to get a hotel, it was just on us. It was on our dime. But commuting to and from work, that was completely on our time. Some airlines, or specifically like fractional, so if you fly for like NetJet or any of those kind of things, they will charter you generally, or they'll buy you a ticket to and from work, like to the plane.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's reasonable. That's very awesome. That's a great question, really, because, sometimes I wonder that too, like, because you guys travel a lot, you guys actually have to pay for the own hotel, or the company pay. But that's awesome. We got a few more questions. Somebody asked, what's it like being a pilot? That's a general question. We have another question here that says, Antonio says, when's the next time you'll be in Philadelphia? I'll wave at your plane. So these are the 2 questions.
I think Philadelphia, I don't know if it's this trip or next trip. I always, so if everyone's on your channel, right, your Discord, I try to always take a screenshot of my daily trips and I send them out on the Discord, and so you can see what it's actually like. For me, for example, what I like to bid, and not what everyone does, but the way I like to bid, I put that out there so that your guys can see, like, oh, today he's doing these 2 legs, or he's doing these 4 legs, or this is where he's going to be. These are real flights that I'm actually flying.
Yeah.
And on Flight Sim, there's an option to show real world planes. You'd actually like follow me, like
wow.
We fly together basically.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
I definitely have to do that one of these days. Like when you're actually doing a flight, I'll hop on and just follow you doing a flight on Flight Sim. That'd be awesome. We all should do that one day. Flying with Captain Nick is a good segment we could probably do.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Adam said, Captain Nick, what was your scariest moment during the flight?
Man, scariest moment. So one thing that I'll try to make very clear is, in the moment, it's very, like, even when you're dealing with an emergency, you stop, you pull back, you take a breath. There is nothing that can happen other than a rapid decompression, which we need to act very fast. But like loss of cabin pressure, rapid decompression, which, knock on wood, I've never had to experience myself. But those are immediately you need to act. A runaway trim, things like that are like, oh my God, react right now, right? Everything else, even if I blow an engine tomorrow, it's like, okay, stop, take a breath. What just happened? I mean, we're still flying. It's not like we just lost both, and even if we lost both engines, we're still gliding. So like, stop, take a breath, assess the situation. There's no time necessarily to be scared. It's okay, what just happened? How do we fix this? Okay, now you just keep going through ABC, right? ABC. You just keep going over and over and over again. Just what's going on? How do we fix it? Yeah. Is that working? If it's not, let's figure out a different scenario or a different situation. So I wouldn't say that was like anything's ever necessarily been scary, but like we talked about last time, I did have that when I was in a small trainer plane. I had that oil blow up on my windscreen, and so I couldn't actually see out ahead of myself. But I used my pilotage, I used my gauges, I used my instincts, and I found a runway, and I just got an instrument approach down to a very low altitude, and then I slipped the plane, which is where you kick in some rudder, and I looked out the side window, found my runway, and at the last second I slipped it back over and landed, and it was, you know, no big deal. But now I'll tell you, after you get out of the plane, that's when the knees start to shake, that's when the adrenaline catches up.
Everything sets up.
What just happened, man?
Yeah, man, that sounds crazy. I'm so glad you were able to get that plane down. Well, once again, guys, if you're just joining, we're on the line right now with Captain Nick. He's the captain for Southwest Airlines, flying a beautiful 737. If you guys have any questions on TikTok or YouTube, feel free to ask any questions. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Gage. I see you, man. Welcome to the stream. Alexis, welcome. Danger Zone, welcome. CJ, much love to you. We have a question here. Tiger fan said, Captain Nick, what is the average salary of an airline pilot?
So we kind of talked about that last time too. That's a very, very broad spectrum. And when we talk about airlines, we're talking about everything from a regional operator, you know, all the way up to a Southwest, Delta, American United. They're very, very far apart. They can be, at least, depending on how much you want to work. What's your quality of life? So my quality of life is I want to be home with my family. Now I want to make enough, you know, to cover the bills and a little bit extra just in case. But like, you know, I wouldn't have 18, 19, 20 days off a month if I wanted to just go out and make absolute bank. I could do that, but then I'm sacrificing time with my family. So I would say an average, and then you also have to take into consideration, are you a year one first officer at a regional, or are you a 30-year captain on a, you know, you're flying a 777 right now, right? So like, are you a 777 captain who likes to pick up overtime? I mean, the difference could be $50,000 a year versus $700,000 a year. You know what I mean? So maybe put a pin right in the middle of all that and say that's a good average, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. That is awesome. Thank you so much for answering.
That's a big gap, though. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of depends on how you want to work it.
Huge. So we have a few more questions. Thank you so much for answering that, man. It's very, very insightful. A lot. They're loving it because Willie said Captain Nick is making me want to become a pilot now.
Come on.
That is awesome. Danger Zone said I'm not a pilot, but flying a Cessna is amazing. Let me see. Somebody says, what's the hardest part of pilot training? The question is coming from Antonio. Hardest part of pilot training.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Kelsey and my Aunt Diana. We've got them watching right now as well. So we're expanding your channel.
Awesome. Shout out to Kelsey and Diana. That is amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Awesome.
So Kelsey, is starting flight training right now. So this is actually a good question for her as well. Flight training is unique to every person. And I would say kind of like learning how to drive a car. What's the hardest part about driving a car? Who knows, right? Like, is it, maybe for me, it was parallel parking, and maybe for, you, Trip, it was the book knowledge, for example. So it's going to change person by person. You have some people who are very hands-on, man, they can fly a plane. Like, I would guess, and I use like Justin as an example because he's always doing like barrel rolls around your plane. Justin, if I could get him into the plane, I bet he'd be one of the top aviators I've ever trained in my life. He's got that stick and rudder because it's a game. And this game is ironically, set up very, very well to teach you stick and rudder skills. Now, if I start teaching him the in-depth of weather, for example, and like the nuclei of a, atomic this and substrata that, like that becomes really murky waters for me. That was probably my hardest part, was aviation weather, the theory of weather. It's just too nitty gritty. Like, I can read the charts, I understand aviation weather, I can read the maps, but understanding like, oh, well, I've got a low pressure with a cold front, that to me, I was like, well, you're in way over my head. I'm not a meteorologist. So that that was pretty tough for me. I would say most people, though, once they get to their instrument rating, that is a pretty tough rating to get to, because you don't get to look outside anymore. I mean, it's like, congratulations, you know how to fly a plane, now you're blind. And you're completely looking at your gauges, and you have to trust those gauges. But you also, because we're going to fail some of them to see if you catch, you know, like you're climbing, but your airspeed's climbing. Something's not right here. So you need to start digging. And we do that to help train you to look at it and start, you know, putting one of those to the side and go, okay, my airspeed indicator is clearly not acting right. So what's going on here? All while you're not able to look outside. So that one is a pretty tricky one for people to start grasping the instrument rating. I would say that one's probably the most tough. Yeah. But like for people like me, I'm an analytical thinker, and so the instrument rating is very, very fun to me, because you're either going to do it right, and you're going to pop out looking at a runway at 50 feet or 200 feet or whatever kind of approach you're shooting, or you're going to pop out and you're like, where am I? Well, you did it wrong, right? So I'm analytical like that. So I would say probably the instrument rating was the most challenging.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that answer. Awesome answer. So instrument rating is the hardest in your opinion. That is awesome. Justin said, he asked a question, Captain Nick, if you're flying through a lot of time zones, is it hard to adjust to the time changes? That's a good question. That's a good question.
It is. And that's, so, you know, we talked about that last time, where, you know, some people were like, man, don't you want to fly the 7-4 and go to, you know, Tokyo? And like, well, it'd be cool sometimes, but like, no, I don't want to do that for a living, which is why Southwest works for me so well, because we stick, I mean, we added Hawaii, so now we are adding more time zones, but for the most part, we stick within 3 or 4 time zones at any given time. You know, I may be on the West Coast this day, but now I'm on the East Coast this day, but for the most part, we try to stick within a couple time zones. If you know of someone who gets on with a carrier like a FedEx or a Delta or United or whatever, where they're going long distances and crossing 7, 8, 9 time zones at a time, you'll notice it's very, very taxing on them. And a lot of it is, like, let's say we take off from someone mentioned Philly. We take off from Philly, it's 5 p.m. and we're going to fly to, you know, Spain. Well, by the time we land in Spain, it's like 5, 6 a.m. and then we have to try to get to a hotel. It's going to take an hour to do that. So by the time we're winding down and trying to go to sleep, the sun's already up. People are ready to, you know, the church bells are tolling, and everyone wants to get out and explore and whatever, and you're trying to sleep, and the maids are cleaning and whatever, and then by the time you want to wake up, it's nighttime and everyone's trying to be quiet. So it's really taxing on your body at that point, because you're not on everyone else's time zone. You're still stuck on your time zone.
That is true.
And then when you try to get on theirs, you're on your way back, and so now you're on their time zone landing back here in America, and so you're not on America's time zone anymore. That's very tough.
That is definitely taxing indeed. That's tough, because flying to California and then back to the East Coast, it's very, very hard on the body to get it adjusted to. Shout out to everybody if you're just hopping in. Once again, we are on the phone with the amazing Captain Nick. He's a Southwest pilot, flies a 737, amazing guy. We have another question here that says, Antonio said, what's your least favorite airport that you've flown into? Least favorite. I don't know if it's because it's too big or you don't like the length. I heard Miami is terrible. It's actually terrible. So what's your least favorite airport? Shout out to the airport, even if no negativity at all. But
I don't want to sound rude.
Yeah,
airport,
I know. That's what I'm
Next
saying.
time I go to Miami, it's gonna smack me or something. No, so Miami is tough because you're almost always dealing with turbulence or wind shear. Denver is tough because you're dealing with mountains, wind shear, wave turbulence, things like that. I would say if we're just talking about airport and where I have experienced the most quote-unquote trouble, man, LaGuardia's got to be on that list somewhere.
Really?
Because you're dealing with 2 short runways right over the water, because one of them extends out into the water. And so they can't launch and land at the same time. You have to stagger that a little bit, but they have to be efficient because there's so many planes coming and going. And so, man, they're launching and landing within seconds of each other. Like, I mean, these controllers are on their game. But if anything goes wrong, I take just a little too much time on the runway or whatever, now you've got people going around left and right. You've got to resequence. there's 60 people on the ground waiting to take off. So that one is definitely, it's just a congested airspace. Wow. That one is definitely hands down.
Wow.
Every time I see look on my schedule, I'm like, come on.
Wow. That is crazy. I'm so sorry. That is wild. But yeah, JJ said, my dream is to become a pilot. I'm looking forward to going to pilot school soon. That is awesome, JJ. That is awesome.
Dude, join that Discord, man. I mean, I'm guessing he's already in.
Yeah, I think he is.
That Discord. And now I think we've got 2 pilots, actually. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but
really?
I think, we do. If you go into the Discord now, on the Ask a Pilot.
Yeah.
So, dude, we are always constantly, I'm searching through there, like anytime someone, like, try to tag me, right? Yeah. Because then it's easier for me to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you're trying to talk to me. Don't just like post a question there, like try to tag me.
Yeah.
But I think I'm almost positive that last night a JetBlue pilot got in, and so I think we actually have 2 people now. So if I missed, like I'm gonna fly for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
So one of us is gonna be on there, I'm sure.
That is awesome. I really want to look into it and see who that is. JetBlue. I know we have another Hobie. Hobie just hopped into the chat. He said, "Yo, he's actually a CFI also." So shout out to him. I know he's a CF5, but I didn't know we had a JetBlue pilot in the Discord. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, Noah, good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. Kaden, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, thank you so much for letting me know that, man. I see that they always, like that chat is always full. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of questions, but I love it. Appreciate you so much for answering these questions, man.
Yeah, well, 2 in the morning is like my time because I'm a PM flyer. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm landing at 2 in the morning. That's when I'm like decompressing. And I had to back up on these, and I'm like, okay, I see, like, hey, Nick, and I'm like, okay, let me answer these really quick. So, sorry if I'm blowing up your phone at 2, 3 in the morning.
No, that's completely fine. We love that. That's completely fine. Shay, good to see you. Shout out to you, Rockout. So let me see. We got another question here. I think Antonio asks, do you like the Southwest 737 fleet? Do you wish they expanded their fleet a bit more?
They are. They're expanding. Well, okay. I think I get where he's going with that.
Yeah.
They are expanding. We're getting, like, hell, I think we just got our 800th plane or something.
Wow.
We are expanding in numbers. But Southwest has it down to a science where we have one fleet type, and I think that's kind of where he's going is...
Yeah, I think so.
We had 7-8s or whatever, and we were joking about that the other day on the Discord was... they were showing me pictures. They were making my mouth water of... I can't remember who it was, but he was sending like 747 Southwest painted planes and like a 787. And I'm like, of course I'd love to fly that, but I still want to fly my like Seattle to San Diego, but now in my 7.4 and 7.8. So no, I love that they've got it down to a science. We have parts, like you only have to order one part for one plane. We don't have to worry about like, American United and Delta. You have to have, they've got 12 different plane types for example, so you have to have 12 different types of parts and 12 different, and not every mechanic can work on the same plane. Just like I am type rated on a plane, they have to get basically typed to work on these planes. So not like every one of my mechanics can work on every one of my planes. I can fly every one of my planes.
That is awesome.
But if you go to like American United, Delta, JetBlue, whatever, you've got all these different plane types. So like if a 7.8 breaks down here, you may not have a mechanic that's going to be ready and available for that.
That is true.
So
that is very true.
I like that we are expanding our fleet, but we're not expanding our fleet type yet.
That is very, very, very a good point, because that is true. Thank you so much for shedding light on that topic. That is awesome. Shout out to Lily. I see you flying a beautiful Dark Star. Jasmine, thank you so much for roses on TikTok. Good to see you guys on YouTube once again. Will, good to see you. David, much, much love. I see some more questions coming in. I think somebody said, Adam was just saying, I can vouch for the turbulence in Denver. He said I hit some on the way during my flight. Got you. Shout out to you, Adam. So Captain Nick, what's the longest flight you've ever done?
We every once in a while we'll do like a close to a 6-hour flight, which is not like super fun for me. I don't, some of these guys, they love it and they thrive on it. And I asked some of my friends who fly like the 7.5 or the 7.8, I'm like, how are you in that chair for 8 hours? They're not, are they the ones back there? Yes. But we don't get to like get up, walk around and, Man, I see some of you passengers like doing galley yoga and like all this weird stuff on the plane. Like, we don't get to do that. We're stuck in the air
for 8 hours. Is crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my longest personal record is like 6 or 6.5.
Yeah.
But
okay, nice.
I very much try to keep it sub 3.
Okay. Gotcha.
That makes sense. For things that are 3 hours or less.
3 hours or less is perfect. That is perfect indeed. So Shay said, Captain Nick, how long did it take for you to become a pilot? How long did it take to, how long did it take to become a pilot?
So I will answer this question, Shay, that you also keep in mind that things have changed dramatically. So if I would have been born 1 year later, things could have been very different. At the time, you had to almost guaranteed you had to have a 4-year degree. You had to have a bachelor's degree, and then most people took about 4 years to get all their ratings, because you had to get your private, instrument, commercial, multi, CFI, II, AGI, MEI. Like, you're getting all these ratings, and then you had to be 23 years old before you could even try to get your ATP, which is airline transport pilot license. Wow. So that's to fly for the airlines. So like when you hear someone say like, "Oh, I have my commercial pilot's license," that doesn't mean airlines. That means there can be a pilot for hire. Maybe they can fly like skydivers, or you can do a lot of different cool things with that. But the airline transport pilot, your ATP, I'm going to the airlines at some point. So generally that took about 4 years. And like I said, you had to be 23 just to get that ATP. I did mine. I mean, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I mean, I put all my eggs in this basket. Yeah. And so I did mine instead of 4 years. I did mine in about 8 months. And then the problem was I was 18 years old and I'm a flight instructor and I'm teaching and I build all this time. Well, like I just said, you can't even get your ATP until you're 23 years old. So I'm 18 and I have the time I need to move forward, but I can't actually move forward because I don't have the age experience. You know what I mean? So I have more experience than a ton of people around me. I just have the physical years of life to get my ATP. That's all changed now. So now they have these 0 to hero programs like Destination 225 or United's Aviate. They have all these programs. I was talking to, I can't remember who it was in the Discord, and they were talking about going to one of these programs. And so I'm trying to walk you through these programs through the Discord the best I can, but they weren't available when I was going through. And I'm not that old. I just turned 33. So had these programs been available when I went through, it's a totally different story, because now you can get a thing called a restricted ATP. And I think that's like 21. You can start working for the airlines now at 21, awesome. Which is crazy. And when you turn 23, you go to the FAA and you say, "Hey, I'm 23 now. I've got my 1,500 hours, blah, blah, blah." And they can take the restricted part off of your ATP, and now you're just a full-fledged ATP. But like I said, that opportunity was not available when I went through. So I don't want to tell you 4 years and then have people be like, "Oh my gosh, no, that time's changed, man." Like, we see people who are getting into this Destination 225 program. I had one of my, I think his name was Matt. He's a flight attendant of mine. And he was like, "Yeah, I just got accepted into the Destination 225 program." And man, I was so excited for him. And I was like, "When do you think you'll be in the right seat of a Southwest jet?" Because you got to keep in mind, to get to that point, people spend whole careers building time, trying to build multi-time, trying to build turbine time. And then you become like a captain of another airline, and then you get hired on by Southwest. And I was talking to him, and he's like, "I'll probably be in the right seat in 4 years." And I was like, "What?"
Wow, 4 years.
Yeah. So we call them 0 to hero programs. And so he is going to go from literally no flying experience to being in the right seat of a 737 in about 4 years. But it's 4 years of no joke. Like, people hear 4 years and they're scared because they're like, "Oh, my pilot's only got 4 years of experience." It is 4 years of 6 days a week, like 3 to 6 hours a day. I mean, it's intense. It's very intensive. It's a high fail out rating, because if you can't keep drinking water from that fire hose, man, like it'll leave you behind. So these guys are very good at what they do.
That's true. That's great advice, man. Thank you so much for that. We have another great, I love this question. He says, "What advice," is from Antonio. He said, "What advice would you give a passenger who is afraid of flying?" for instance, turbulence. There's a lot of people out there that are scared of turbulence. What would you say to a passenger that comes up to you right now and say, hey, I'm kind of scared of flying? What would you say to kind of calm their nerves while on a flight?
Well, generally, after I get done screaming myself, then we can calm each other down and we can get it together. No, so turbulence, our planes are very much meant to handle turbulence. I want you to reset. We think of turbulence as scary because you can't see it.
Yeah.
I want you to reset for a second. You and I are in a canoe or a kayak or a boat or whatever you want to be in. So we're in a rubber duck and we're going on the water.
Yeah.
You're not scared of every wave you hit because you can see that wave coming. You know when to brace for that wave. Turbulence is nothing but wave. You're just experiencing it in flight instead of on the water.
Ooh.
And we cannot physically see it. Sometimes you actually can. Sometimes if the clouds are just right, you can see them start to kind of roll and you're like, oh, this is going to suck. And we just know, and that's when we tell passengers, hey, either we have a report or we can physically see it, or, if I'm going over the mountains by Denver, I'm like, it's just going to happen. You might as well just sit down. But if you can reset your mind and realize that our planes are meant to handle turbulence. If you want to, because some people are super analytical, go watch, they're called wing flex test. Go watch that on YouTube. And it's incredible. Now, don't leave the stream right now. I know some of you are thinking about it. Don't do it. Stay here.
Thank you.
Do it later on your own time. You watch a wing flex test, and you'll see these planes are meant, like the Snake, for example. Man, that wingtip is way above the fuselage. I'm talking way above. And they have to pull them until they snap to see, okay, it held, a positive 18 Gs, which, by the way, you can't handle as a human anyway, so you're never going to feel that. And it went to a negative 9 Gs, which also our planes aren't, equipped to do that anyways. So you're never going to hit turbulence that is going to mess with the plane enough to cause a problem. I say that carefully because if you're standing up, for example, yes, we've had injuries with turbulence. That's why we say, if it's turbulent, take your seat, keep your seatbelt on, because we can hit it. It's called clear air turbulence. We can hit it kind of in at any given time. But yeah, like I said, man, if you can start just kind of thinking of it as a wave with a boat, it's not scary anymore. It's just kind of unexpected sometimes, and so we get a little nervous, but it's nothing to worry.
That is true. Yeah,
I've been flying for 16 years, and I've never had any kind of turbulence that got me so bad that I'm not flying anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember just a few weeks ago I was on a flight from Antigua to Miami, and we had a serious turbulence happen, and I looked outside, there were no clouds, so I'm like, this is clear air turbulence, this is crazy. But it was one of the worst turbulence I've ever had. But I know, like you said, I saw the video of the wing flex test, and I saw it before, so I knew no matter how much the plane shakes or bend, we're still not going to fall out of the sky. So I was and
these planes are meant to do that. That's
exactly.
It's like a building or a bridge. They're meant to sway a little bit, because if you build them too rigid, which is what we did, that was the problem. The last time turbulence ever took down an airliner was 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
And what they were doing was they were building the wings too rigid, and they weren't looking for stress fractures. We do that now on a very routine basis. Our mechanics are extremely good. They go through telescopically and with like an ultrasound, like you would see with like a baby.
Yeah.
They do that to our planes. I'm talking every inch, and they look for stress fractures. And our wings are built different now, so we have better, more malleable equipment. And these planes, if you look out and you see while taxiing is a good time, you'll see the wing shake or flex. It kind of looks like it's flapping, especially if you're on a Southwest plane, we're taxiing at 400 miles an hour. That you'll see the wing out there bouncing around. It's okay. It's meant to do. It's meant to flex.
Exactly. Because on the same flight, my sister was looking out the window why is the wing shaking? I'm like, that's what's supposed to happen. It's fine. They're fine. But yeah, once again, shout out to Chloe. I see you just joined. Welcome to the stream. I see Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is having a wonderful night once again. Right now, we're just on the phone with Captain Nick. Welcome. So it looks like somebody said, hey, Nick, it's Cassidy. Kelsey's sister. She's in the chat.
Oh, hey.
That's awesome.
How are you, Cassidy?
Yeah, she's in the chat. Shout out to you, Cassidy. Thank you so much for joining the stream tonight. Much love to you. Let me see. I see a few more. Oh yeah, Brian said you're more likely to get into a car accident than being on a plane crash. Yeah, I tell him that all the time.
Like,
it sounds.
Yeah. I mean, hundreds, thousands of percent. Not to sound more.
Exactly. It sounds very weird. I told them before. It's more likely of you getting a chance of getting an accident going to Walmart than being in a plane crash. And it sounds very harsh, but that's just reality.
It's like you're more likely to get killed by a cow in the ocean, I think it is, every year than. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. David said, David, thank you so much for hopping on. I think David is a new member of the chat. Thank you so much for hopping on. He said, I have a question. Is it hard to be a pilot? So that's a general question. He's just asking, is it hard to be a pilot?
No. Well, no and yes. It is not easy to get to this point. Nothing good ever is. That's life advice. Take it or leave it. Nothing worth having generally comes easy. You want a six-pack, it's probably going to cost you. You know what I mean? There are sacrifices to be made.
For sure.
What I did, I knew I wanted to be a pilot since I was 3-4 years old. I knew the sacrifices it was going to take to get there. And so when all my friends are enjoying college and going to frat parties and whatever, like I'm studying, I'm doing, I'm flying. I was doing 3 jobs. I was doing 21 credit hours when everyone else was doing 12. I was flying as much as I humanly could. I was up at 4 a.m. I was back down at midnight. It was sacrifice. It's hard work. But now I'm living my dream life.
That's awesome.
My dream location, my dream company. So it pays off. It's just, it's not easy getting there. So it's very dependent on how you want to do it. And I would say this life, now that I have it, the maintenance of it is a lot easier in a lot of ways than I thought it was going to be. Because once you get here, you're like, okay, I can take that breath. I can take a step back. I'm not going for more ratings. I'm not going for, a different airline or, interviews or whatever. The hard part then becomes, did you start a family? You might miss your kids' first steps.
That's true.
You might miss that ballet recital. You're gonna miss a Christmas. You're gonna miss a New Year's. You're gonna miss a birthday. And we've learned, like my family, we've learned that Christmas isn't December 25th anymore.
Yeah.
Christmas is Dad's home.
I like
Thanksgiving is when Dad's home.
I like that.
And so, yeah, there's certain ones, like I will always try to get, what our favorite one is, Halloween.
Yeah.
I will always try to get Halloween off.
Awesome.
I will always try to get 4th of July off. But I'll tell you that might change this year because flying over fireworks is one of the coolest things you'll ever do.
Really?
It's incredible. Yeah, to look down and just see little pops of fireworks everywhere. But yeah, it's becoming a pilot is hard.
Yeah.
Becoming a pilot is stressful. You are going to sacrifice time, energy, a lot of money, clearly, to get to this point. Once you have it, if this is what you want, and I'm almost like, I see Kelsey in front of me and I'm like trying to just talk to her directly, but I'm like, if this is what you want, you hold on to it, you stick in there, and it'll happen. And the day it does, you're going to take a step back and your eyes are going to flood with tears and you're going to realize, like, dude, I've done it. I'm here. I've made it. We just had one of those revelations recently. I'm getting emotional over here. Damn you, Trip.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I completely understand. Congratulations.
And then you get to pull back a little bit and life just gets easy.
Wow. Thank you so much for your transparency, man. I like that. I love that answer because some pilots would just be like, yep, it's easy to be a pilot. Just go in and study. But you tell them the hard facts. It's hard work, but after you put in all the hard work, at the end of the day, you sit back and look and just think about what you've been through and you made it. You made it. So thank you so much for that.
I told you that when you told me about that Discord and you're like, hey, we can start this channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, one of my biggest things is I'm not sugarcoating things. I love what I do, but man, there's sacrifice to it. And like, we love to keep the romanticism in aviation. So it's amazing. You talk to these flight attendants and like, they're like, oh yeah, it's great being a flight attendant. You're like, okay, tell me the truth. Like there are drawbacks, man. My wife went on a trip with us one time and I had to leave her in Newark. And she rode, because these flight attendants are used to doing it, she rode, 7 hours? 7 hours in a car from Newark to Pittsburgh, where they were based at.
Wow.
And she rode with them. And she said when I looked over, they were all prim and proper, and they had their makeup done and their hails and their nail. And my wife's in the back seat going, "How do you do this?" Like, it's
Oh
not
my goodness.
but I want to be very transparent. Like, for someone who says, I want to be a pilot, because I never had that person to ask these questions to. I never had a mentor. I never had someone who did it before me. I was a total black sheep. I knew nothing to expect. I want to be very transparent. If you say, I want to be a pilot, I want to say, then we need to have a talk.
Awesome. I really like that. David said, thank you so much for answering my question, Captain Nick. They said W, Captain Nick. Awesome. Well, they said, Captain Nick, can your wife fly? Has she ever hopped on the flight sim or anything like that?
This one's for you. They're asking, can your wife fly? Okay, I'll tell you a couple things. I think if I got her up in an actual plane, 100% she could physically manipulate the controls, no problem.
Awesome.
She has, unfortunately, a thing where when she cannot watch video games normally. It's very hard for her to physically watch them. She gets really sick and I don't know what the fix is. I mean, we've got a bunch of gamers. Maybe you can help me out. Because I would love. It's a passion of mine too, right? Like I get off my trips, and the first thing I do is hop on with Trip, and we're flying around. So that's something I would love for her to experience. But could she fly a flight simulator? Honestly, the flight simulators are harder. That's why I was saying your guys that are flying the flight sim with you right now, if I got them in a plane, it'd be amazing to see what kind of aviators they would be, because it's easier. You can physically feel like you are proactive instead of reactive. So when you're on the flight sim, if you have like the wind turned on or the turbulence, you're being very reactive. But in a real plane, you can hear the wind, you can feel it in the yoke. It's actually easier to fly in real life. So yes, 100%. My wife, if her and I went up and I said, here's the controls, fly around for a while, yes, she can do that 100%.
That is awesome. That's a great question, by the way.
She did fly under a bridge in Grand Theft Auto. I'll give her that right now.
GTA. Oh man, that is funny. That is funny. I like that.
It's way harder to fly
than
a real plane. 100%.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to your wife also. Thank you so much for listening and for lending us your husband for a few minutes.
How do I get this thing on speakerphone, man?
I'm not sure. You're on Discord, right? Good question.
I feel like this 90-year-old man. How do I do it?
There should be a part that says mic. There's an arrow button down. I'm not sure. I'm on the computer, so I'm not sure, but should be a way. Send me a screenshot of how it looks, and I'll see. I'll see if I can. But appreciate you so much. Somebody said I think it might be motion sickness. Maybe your wife has motion sickness where she can't really play games, because a lot of people, when they watch video games for a long time, they start to get dizzy and they just can't stare at the screen for too long. So maybe that's a reason why. Somebody asks, Antonio is asking a question about college. He said, is there a standard recommendation of what you need to major in college in order to become a pilot?
Yes. Antonio, was that?
Yeah, Antonio.
Phenomenal question. I'm so glad you asked that, because that was something I was hoping to lead into at some point. It has changed. Number one, it is not the standard anymore that you have to have a 4-year degree. I will preface that with, if you don't, you may be less inclined to get the job.
Okay.
So please understand, I'm not saying don't go to college.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, everyone should skip college, and that's not what I'm saying. I am saying that the FAA, because we're at such a pilot shortage, which could end, and then all of a sudden the 4-year degree might come back, so be careful. I would always recommend having schooling under your belt. I think it's a good thing. But I would say, if I could go back and do it again, because I do have a 4-year degree, I would say you do not need to get a 4-year degree in aviation. You can get, and this is where, like, I was 100% into aviation my entire life, and so I knew I wanted a professional pilot degree. And it was cool and it was great, and I think it helped me with aviation, and it helped me with putting roots down in aviation. And of course, when they say it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's true in a lot of ways. One of the jobs that I got as a medevac pilot, I got that because I knew the guy who ran the operation.
Wow.
And he was like, hey, I need a pilot. And so that helped me build multi-time. But I would say I don't have much to fall back on in the way of schooling. So God forbid tomorrow I lose my medical license or my medical. I don't have anything, like I have some minors, right? Like I have like a business administration minor and history minor and a psychology, whatever. But like, I don't, if I could go back and do it again, I would maybe look at asking myself the question, if I were to lose my license or not become a pilot at all, what else would I want to do? Now, maybe focus more on that for your 4-year degree. But, and this is the real big kicker, the college I went to specifically for the aviation degree. So I got a lot of my ratings and they counted as credits towards my schooling. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah.
So like if you went to Embry-Riddle, you're probably not going to do anything other than aviation. Or if you went to Purdue or MTSU like I did, you're probably going to want to do something aviation related. But if you're just at a different university and they don't offer aviation classes or flying programs or whatever, that's okay. You can still look at like, oh, if I wasn't a pilot, maybe I'd be a software engineer. Okay, do that and get your flying done on the outside. Part, there's part 61, there's part 141. Maybe do part 61 on your own, and then you have this degree in this, but you also have your flying here, and now you have both of them. But like I said, I mean, now, like I'm pretty sure Southwest, we don't even need a degree anymore.
Oh,
so technically, that was a big killer for a lot of people. They were like, well, I don't want to go back to school and do 4 years of schooling. You don't need it anymore. Like I said, not that it won't come back at some point, but as of this moment right now, you don't need a bachelor's degree anymore.
Wow, that's great information to know, man. So that is awesome. I hope you guys have some pen and papers right now and some awesome information from Captain Nick. We have an awesome question here from Kelsey. Kelsey said, hello, Captain Nick. I'm in my last year with flight program. I'm planning on going to college with an aviation program after high school. Do you have any recommendations for any specific colleges?
Yeah. So there's a thing out there called AOPA, airline operator and pilot something. I can't remember exactly what it's called right now, but it's AOPA. And they tend, so when I was a freshman in high school, that's when I started touring colleges. I was a freshman in high school touring all my colleges, and AOPA did a little thing where it was like the top best colleges for aviation. And I toured those. So I toured Embry-Riddle, I toured Purdue, I toured MTSU, and I liked TSU the most. So I chose to go there. But yeah, there is a lot of, and now you can do it online. So go online and start looking. But there's a lot of pros and cons. Like, do you want to move out of state, man? That gets expensive. Like I moved from essentially Portland, Oregon to Nashville, Tennessee. So not only am I paying for my flying, my college is an out-of-state tuition. That's like triple the price. So that's kind of where I'm saying that you may, everyone, like, for example, they're like, oh, I want to get away from my family. Like, do you? Like, the home part of it and not have to pay an absorbent amount of out-of-state tuition. Or maybe you can set yourself up well where, you can try to, kind of get like an in-state or like, there's a lot of scholarships. Like Tennessee, I think it was called like the Tennessee Hope program. If you were, went to high school in Tennessee, then you just magically got this, everyone who was in Tennessee, who stayed in Tennessee, got this magical little credit that helped them out with college. I never got any of that. It was all out of pocket, triple the price because I moved to this college, but I knew that's where I want to go. So I don't know if that's hopefully answers your question.
I was
the research. Definitely do the research because it's a big decision to make. Congratulations on getting the high school credit. That is huge. Hold on to that. And that's also a big deal because maybe that high school credit, like for example, if I would have stayed in Portland, that high school credit I was building only worked for the Pacific Northwest. So I would have had to have gone to college in Washington, Oregon, or Idaho. It did not transfer with me to Tennessee. So I lost all these credits that I had built in high school. So you need to know all these facts. I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, man, you should go to Middle Tennessee State University. Like that's not a good recommendation, even though it worked for me. That might not work for you, especially it sounds like you have some extra stuff going on with your high school credits. You need to look into that.
Yeah. Gotcha. That was a great answer. Thank you so much. And shout out to you, Kelsey. Congratulations. And thank you so much for asking that amazing question. Thank you so much to Captain Nick also for answering it. Awesome, awesome. James said, can't wait to start flight school this summer. Let's go. Shout out to you, James.
That's awesome, man.
That is awesome, man.
Be on that Discord, dude. Ask questions. Ask questions, and that helps keep me sharp too. You know, and I'm also a flight instructor.
Awesome.
So I try to, like, we just learned like the phonetic alphabet, right?
Yeah.
For you know, so we start at the beginner level, and I'm trying to throw out free flight training, because the more you can do now before you start, the better off you're going to be. So like when I taught the phonetic alphabet, so a lot of flight instructors are going to charge you like $200 for that. Why? Wow. We just learned it together on the Discord for free.
That is amazing.
Get in on that.
Yeah, once again, guys, feel free to join the Discord. Captain Nick is in the Discord. So when we're off stream, he is able to answer some questions when he's available. But thank you guys so much once again for these amazing questions. Somebody asks, Antonio asks, have you ever had to deal with the FAA for any situation at all? The FAA.
Yes, and I actually, you know, I'm a very transparent person.
Yeah, I love that. Yep.
And so, like, you know, I told you, I was like, we messed up going into Portland, Oregon not that long ago, and it wasn't a big deal. It was just, but it was what it was. I messed up.
Yep.
The guy I was flying with, we both messed up, and we didn't catch a speed restriction, and we blew right through it, going way too fast, because we like to fly fast. And I was very open on the Discord of, you know, have you ever wondered what happens, you know, when because we're all human, like we're all going to mess up. That's fine. You need to take that accountability and then move forward with it. And so we have a thing called ASAP, and it's a self-sourced. So once you find out that you messed up, you go on there and you write out a thing. It's kind of like writing a paper, and you say like, here's what happened. Here's how I messed up. If I were to do it again, here's what I would have done. And basically the FAA is looking at it as like, what caused you to mess up? You know, was it weather? Is it the actual procedure is not easy to understand? Maybe it's a little ambiguous. And so it helps the FAA too. And the trade-off was, if the pilots, and this is not just pilots, this is, I think, flight attendants, this is mechanics, this is ATC. Like if ATC gives me the wrong turn, and I take that turn and they were like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that, they can fill out one of these things. So I know it from the pilot side. But so yeah, we blew through this. It's called when you do like a standard instrument departure or a standard terminal arrival route, it's called a SID or a STAR. We're flying this STAR, and this STAR had a 280 knot speed restriction. I was doing like 320, of course. And when we blew through it, I was like, oh my God. And so I filled out this paper, and I said, hey, I messed up. And the reason I messed up was this. And then, you know, a couple weeks later, I get this cool letter from NASA in the mail. And it always makes me feel like Bruce Willis in Armageddon. It's not. It's them telling me like, hey, thanks for letting us know you messed up. You know, maybe in the future, you know, don't be going so fast. And I'm like, cool, appreciate you. Yeah. We go about like our ways. But we do have FAA inspectors who I've dealt with many times as well. If there's any on the call, super great guys. But they come on randomly, and when you're in flight training, you better be ready for them too, because they can come out at FBOs. They love to, and they'll just like meet you on the ramp, and they're like, "Hey, show me that you are legal." And so like to be ready to be like, it's kind of like getting stopped by a cop. But imagine a cop can just pull you over anytime they want. They don't need any reason to. Like you didn't need to be speeding. And so they can just pull up. Like imagine you get pulled over tomorrow for no reason, and they're like, show me you have your driver's license, your insurance, show me that your car is quote unquote airworthy. You know, obviously car's not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, show me that your plane's airworthy, show me how your medical, show me that you have, you know, the logbook's up to date, you know, the VOR has been serviced every 30 days, whatever. Like we have those quite a bit, and they'll ride in our jump seat. And so they'll watch me fly, and they'll, at the end of the flight, they're like, cool, have a good day. Or they'll bring up like, you know, hey, did you know you did this? Or did you know you did that? So yeah, we do on a somewhat routine basis. It's never fun. It's always nerve wracking. Yeah. That's the honest truth. But, you know, they're there for a reason, and they're there to keep you on the straight and narrow. So good people.
Great answer. Thank you so much. We're about to touch down in the beautiful Minneapolis right now also. So you said you're going to be hopping on the second flight, or no? I think you mentioned he's going to be...
I was more talking about...
okay. I understood. Got you. Nah, no problem.
I might hop on here. Maybe my wife
Yeah.
But you do a new barrels tomorrow.
Got you. No problem. No problem. Um, wait 1 second. I see two more questions here. Let me get this plane down real quick. I do want to keep you too long, so let us know.
You're good.
Yeah, let us know when you're how many more questions you think you can answer, and we'll go from there.
Keep
All
firing.
Right.
We're looking great.
All right, so let me get this plane down safely here real quick. Do a little flare, and
nice.
we are down. Alrighty. And we are down, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beautiful, I think it's Minneapolis. All right, so shout out to everybody in chat once again. I think Rockout said he landed 9 out of 10. Brian said he landed 10 out of 10. Awesome. All right, so we have a question here. Brian said, does he think that Southwest will expand the different planes such as Airbus or Embraer?
Not anytime soon is my thought, but we had this fun little rumor floating around for a while, where we actually had a button in where we changed things to a 787, and it came up out of nowhere. And so we all, this huge rumor mill started. We were like, oh my God, we're getting 787s. And so it's always out there, man. Like, we're testing the waters, going further and further and further. I mean, we're going to Hawaii, and like when we get the MAX 7s, we're talking about going to Hawaii direct from Denver. That's a super long flight for a 737. And the 737, we've stretched it. Like, if you look at the original 737, the joke is when he landed, it looked like a football, so they said nice field goal, right?
Yeah.
So short and squatty, which so was the Airbus. And then they've just expanded them. And now they're like the size of like the older 757s, which is what we were talking about in the Discord. Like, they're hard to land because they've just stretched these things so far that you don't get a whole lot of flare. And so, I do think at some point, you can only do so much with the 737 market. And you got to keep in mind, we started by doing 3 inside of Texas, 3 flights, 3 routes, just inside of Texas. So like, the 737 made sense, and we've stretched it to make sense for what we do now. But at some point, I do think, and I don't know when that's going to be, is it 20 years? Is it in 2 months? Is it in, 100 years? I think we will look at expanding into potentially another plane type. But awesome. I don't see it in the next like 10 years.
The next 10 years, wow. Gotcha.
I don't see that.
Understood. We have, like I said, we have another CFI in the chat right now. That's Hobie. Shout out to you. He mentioned, he made a comment. He said another important factor with aviation school/college is private versus federal loans. He said often the private school, private loans can have exorbitant interest rates. Okay, got you. Thank you so much. Hobie, I would love to have you on this podcast sometime too, man. It would be awesome to have you on the stream. But yeah, good, Captain Nick. He was talking about the loans.
Oh. Yep. Yeah. I totally agree. You need to figure out, with interest rates and whatnot, because we're talking about that recently. Some of them can be forgiven, and some of them are exorbitant interest rates. It's like crazy. Yeah. Like, I had to take. It was during the 2007, 2008 when the economy crashed. My interest rates, because I couldn't take out a student loan, I had to take out personal loans, and they were like 13%. Like, they were crazy. Wow. And so I was like a student making no money and trying to pay back these student loans. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of work from a lot smarter guys than me that need to go into figuring out rates and how you're going to pay them back and schedules and things like that. That's a deep conversation for someone that I'm just not that guy.
Got you. Let me see. Hobie said, how would a mid-Atlantic diversion work in a 737 if you're flying from Denver to Hawaii?
So, obviously we have a point of no return where, depending on what the circumstance is, depending on, did we just lose an engine, or is it a fuel leak, and we've had them. There is a point in space that we've decided based on the winds and based on the weight, whatever, where we say at this point, no matter what happens, we're going forward. Or if we haven't reached that point yet, we're going back to blah. So we're going back to LA, or we're going back to San Francisco, or Seattle, whatever, depending on the winds, the weight, how much fuel we have on board, etc. So yeah, diversion, mid-Atlantic is If are we? Well, hell, are we talking Atlantic? We're talking about going the other way, but we're
Yeah, he
talking
said
about Hawaii.
Mid-Atlantic. Pacific, my bad. He corrected himself. Yeah, mid-Pacific.
Pacific, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot in between us and Hawaii. So, like I said, there will be a point in space where we determine, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going back. I'm going backwards. Or if I've passed this point, and we have them anyways. Maybe I'll take a screenshot the next time I get a flight release.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that it's okay with my company. But we have them anyways. We have them on every flight where, depending on the weight and what's going on, if we're going over the mountains, for example, we may have a point where it's like, if something happens, if you haven't reached this fix or this VOR or whatever, you need to turn around and go to this place. Or if you've passed that, it is no longer safe to turn back around. You need to keep going forward. You know what I mean? And it depends on altitude, and it depends on weight and all these other factors. So we can kind of dig into that when I have a release, but
Gotcha. Thank you so much for answering that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kelsey has another question. She says, do you have any tips for remembering the rules for airspace? She said, I usually catch on to topics pretty easily, but the topics of airspace has been a real struggle for me.
Yeah, dude, join the family. Airspace, they have convoluted. There are certain, and man, I'm not going to give them right now just because it would be a disservice, because it's been so long since forever. And so I don't want to say something wrong right now and have that stick in your head.
Completely understand. Yep.
For right now, just keep hammering away the best you can. And what I'll do is maybe that'll be our next topic for the flight training. And I'll try to throw out some of the things that helped me while I was going through.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, man. Once again, guys, we're on the phone with the awesome Captain Nick. He flies for Southwest 737. Appreciate him so much. And we also doing a flight right now from PHNL to PHOG. If you guys want to hop on runway 4 right to runway 2, going to be a short flight. We are going to need a third flight for tonight. So if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to hop on. Somebody asked, how often is Captain Nick on the channel? Whenever he's free, being a pilot is definitely taxing. So whenever he's free, we try to get him on maybe once every 2 weeks. Whenever. Yeah, Captain Nick, whenever you're free. Yeah. Me and we're good friends, so we text. So whenever he's free, like just now, he just texted me like, hey, are you live tonight? I'm like, yep. So he's going to hop on. So it's so super random, but we appreciate whenever he's on with us.
It's obviously my schedule. Like this month, I work basically, let's call it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, almost every week. And then obviously, like I need my time with my family and my son and stuff. It's like Saturdays, ironically, will tend to work best for me, but I don't know if we actually do streams on Saturdays. Maybe I could do like a Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe a Sunday or something. We can do a couple this month.
For sure. That'll be awesome.
I'm on that Discord like almost every day.
Yes, that is true. I just put the Discord link in the chat. I see somebody on TikTok asked for the Discord link, so feel free to hop over to YouTube and check out the Discord. Captain Nick is there almost every day, just answering questions. And I'm just not here. We do have a JetBlue pilot. I'm definitely going to look into that also, Captain Nick. JetBlue pilot on the chat as well. And we also have Hobie. He's basically here almost every night also. He's a CFI, awesome guy. So yeah, feel free to join us, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I have another question. Somebody said, can I take flight lessons in the Air Force or Navy? And if so, after I pass, can I drop out and try to join the airlines?
Yeah. So obviously you can learn to fly in the military. That's something I think it was McDougall we were trying to talk about recently, because but here's the kicker with that though. Generally, to be a pilot in the military, you need to be an officer, and to be an officer, you have to have a 4-year degree. So that's where things get twisted. Everyone thinks that I'm just gonna, jump from high school into the military and I'm gonna be a pilot. Like, once again, I did not go that route. I had a Navy flight slot, the economy tanked, and I ended up having to give away my flight slot. So I never went that route. That is definitely something you're gonna want to talk to an officer recruiter about.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, of course, the military trains pilots from no knowledge up to being cargo or fighters or whatever, reconnaissance, whatever you want. So yes, you can, but also once you join up, like let's say you join the Air Force, it takes so long to train a pilot from nothing to, like, let's say you became a fighter pilot, you're flying F-15s.
Yeah.
You're going to have a commitment with them that may be 8 or 10 years, because you're not even going to touch a plane for, let's say, 2 years almost, because there's a lot of training that goes into teaching a pilot what they need to know. So, like I said, you might need a college degree to become an officer, and then you go through either OCS or OTS, depending on if it's the Air Force or the Navy, and then you start flight training, and then they're like, well, we need you to sign a 10-year commitment. You can't just drop out. Like, you can't just like take flight lessons and then hop out and head over to the airlines. It doesn't work like that.
Gotcha.
But you can become a pilot for the military, get all your military experience, and then instead of re-enlisting or re-upping on your contract, then you bail out and then you go over to the airlines. We have people do that all the time. Okay. That's half of our pilots are our military. I was just flying with a U-2 pilot the other day.
What? Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
B2 pilots, U2 pilots, nice. F-16, 18s, 15s. I mean, it's A-10s. We've got all sorts of, I would say half of our pilots are military. Gotcha. That's pretty awesome.
Appreciate you guys so much for the suggestions. I see a few suggestions. After the flight, we will just put these suggestions in the flight simulator to just see how long the flights are, and then we'll choose it from there. Appreciate you so much for answering the question, Captain Nick. Much love. We have another question here from Antonio. Said, are you permitted any personal modifications in the airplanes? For example, personal aviation headset. Oh, you're allowed.
Yeah, sorry, can you ask that question one more time?
He said, are you permitted any personal modifications in the airplanes? For example, are you allowed to have your own headset?
Oh, yeah. Like I have my headset that I keep with me on a daily basis in my flight bag right now. And so, yeah, we can. Now, there's stipulations to it. Some airlines, they need to be, I can't remember what the acronym is, like OTS or it's something. And it's basically saying that it is airline approved, it's FAA approved.
Yeah.
But like Bose or David Clark's or whatever, those are all great headsets. So like in my flight bag at all times, I can go grab it right now, is my, was it a birthday gift or a Christmas gift? My wife got me a Bose headset that I've been wanting. And so nice. That's my headset that I bring to every plane has a headset. You're just not going to want to use it. They're terrible.
Understood.
Yeah, they're absolutely terrible, and every person has put their mouth on them and whatever. So yeah, we all carry our own headsets.
Awesome. I think this is a good question here on TikTok from RLX on TikTok. He said, if you are from the USA, will you be able to serve an overseas airline like KLM? Because I want to fly for KLM. Yes. So you said yes. Yes. Okay.
There are fun hoops you will have to jump through, and I don't know what they are because I've never done them personally. But we at one point were looking at like an Emirates or a KLM or a we were looking at that. Do your research. I don't want to. I'm not trying to say anything about any other airline. Do your research. Do a lot of research. Make sure it's what you want. I've heard KLM is an incredible airline, by the way, so I'm not trying to like dog on KLM.
For sure.
Just make sure you know what you're doing before you make that jump. But yes, you absolutely can be an American citizen and then hop over and fly for like, KLM or Emirates. I've got friends who are at Emirates right now, and they're still American citizens.
Oh, nice. That is awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's a good question. RLX, thank you so much for the answer also. Somebody said I'm going to college right now to be an officer in the Navy. Awesome.
Nice. Congrats.
Congratulations. Let me see. Willie said, Captain Nick, do airlines allow you guys to record the landings? Can you record the landings?
No, we cannot personally. Like, I'm trying to think of the best way. So just being as transparent as possible. We're not supposed to use our phone in any capacity while we're flying. Now,
okay.
Do we have people who, once we get up to cruise or whatever, they're using their phone as a calculator or they're reading, whatever. But no, I'm not going to pull out my phone while I'm landing a plane and take a video. Now, there's some tricks to this. For example, on my TikTok, for example, some of the videos that you see, those are recorded from a jump seater.
Oh.
There's nothing. When I say there's nothing, that's not true. Like a captain can, or first officer, we can tell them hey man, don't pull out your phone at all on this flight.
Yeah.
But there's nothing legality-wise keeping my jump seater from using their phone, and then later like sending that to me, for example.
Yeah.
So like you've been on my TikTok, you've seen that I have some cool aviation videos. Those are from jump seaters, and they're taking them, you know, for us, for example, like that river visual going into DCA.
Yeah.
That's a very cool approach that many people never get to experience from the front. And so jump seater will film that, and then, you know, once we land, it's like, hey man, you want to send that to me, and then, you know, I'll doctor that up or whatever, so that people can see it. But that's not like me holding my cell phone out the window, you know what I mean? Like, that's obviously, I've got a plane to fly, I have my thing to do. So yeah, you're not generally going to see people like whipping out their phone mid-flight and like taking pictures and videos and stuff.
Got you. Great question, great answer. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, Brian. Brian said he's loving the new Velocity 1 yoke. Awesome, man. Let me see. He said Alabama. Oh, you watching football, Brian? He said Alabama and Michigan are tied right now. 1 minute left. Nice. So somebody asked, Kelsey asked, when I eventually get my commercial license, what should be the next step to work towards should I work towards my airline license?
Yeah, so you're going to have your private, hopefully you've done your instrument, and then you do your commercial. What I like to do then is do my multi, because then you get your multi-commercial. And then it kind of opens up a world of, like, let's say you want to build time, but you also want to get paid for it because you're, you know, you're wrapped on cash because you've been paying so much for all your flight training. Get your commercial, try to find a local place that'll let you start flying. Like skydivers, for example, is an incredible way. You're not going to build a ton of time because your job is to take off, fly to like 10,000 or whatever, drop some people off, dive back down, land, pick up more skydivers, go right back up. So it's not like you're not building like 8 hours a day. But, you know, you see a lot of people who do like banner towing or skydivers or pipeline patrol. There's some crazy ones where, like, in the Pacific Northwest, you can fly around and like count pelicans. So you can work for like the Forest Service, and you can build time that way. What I recommend, and this is very dependent, I love teaching. I love seeing that light bulb, which is why I love doing the Discord, right? That's why I love talking to you guys.
Awesome.
A next step for me after your commercial, let's get our CFI. That way I can train people, because that keeps you in the books. So like, you've got another guy on here who's a CFI right now.
Yep.
That guy's still in the books all the time, because you have to have the right answers for people learning to fly a plane. So becoming a CFI, you get paid to do what you love, but you also get to help mold. And it's so cool because you'll keep up with these students. And I just had one of my students, he just got on with United flying a 7576.
Wow.
And so it's cool to see, because it's like, I remember teaching him, you know, I was 18, he was 16, 17, and now like we're both on at airlines. That's a great route to go.
Nice.
Get that CFI, get that CFII too. Also, Kelsey, if you just took your instrument rating, for the love of all that's holy, take your CFII rating, your instrument test right now. You already have the knowledge. You've already studied for it. Take that CFII written, because it's the same test. So anyone who's going through this, or about you have people who are about to go through this, when they're studying for their instrument, which is a Great Shepherd Air thing, they're going to use like Shepherd Air. They're going to study for their instrument rating. When you take that test, tell them, I also want to take my CFII, which is an instrument instructor written test.
Nice.
Because it's the same test, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to re-study for that, you know, a year later.
Wow.
That's one of the biggest tips I can give you right now.
Great advice. Hobie's in the chat right now. The CFI, he's actually agreeing with you. He said that's what I love about teaching. I get to give back. He also said the CFII written test bank is exactly the same. Yeah. So,
yes. For the love of God, take that.
Yeah. That is awesome. So I think somebody asked a question just now. So what is the busiest airport you ever landed into? Busiest airport.
So Chicago O'Hare is, my wife's over here going, yes, she knew. Chicago O'Hare, it's Atlanta and Chicago go back and forth to being the busiest. all the time. And I think, the last time I heard, Chicago O'Hare actually was number one. But, and this is not a slap in the face to anyone who lives in Chicago or Chicago Airport itself. I'm going to have a bad landing the next time I go in there. That airport is not set up as well as Atlanta. So Atlanta doesn't have a bunch of crossing runways or, like they've got like the Victor loop that goes around the runway instead of you having to cross the runway. So if 200 planes a day are coming, or that's nowhere near the number, but let's just say 200 planes a day both go into Atlanta and Chicago O'Hare.
Yeah.
Atlanta will clear out way faster than Chicago O'Hare. Plus, Chicago O'Hare is just on this monstrous property. If you go on like Google Earth and you look down at Chicago O'Hare, it's stupid big. It's so big. You could put like 20 LaGuardias on Chicago O'Hare's airport. Wow. It's ridiculous. So sometimes I'll land on one of these, like runway 9, I think it is, or 9 right or whatever it is. Yeah. I'll land at one of this, like this north runway. Dude, it's like 30 minutes before I get to my gate.
Wow.
So So I would say Chicago O'Hare, LaGuardia is crazy busy, man. But it's just because it's so many planes on such a small parcel of land, and these runways are crossing, and God forbid you land long. Now you have to recross another runway. Like it just gets very busy for us as pilots very quick.
Got you. Wow. Thank you so much for that awesome answer, and thank you so much for that question, by the way, man. So just as the Captain Nick, could you put a GoPro on a window of the cockpit, or would it distract the pilots? Could you put a GoPro?
It's not going to distract the pilots, man. Here's the problem, and I'll be very straightforward and frank about this. We all want to do it. We all want to do it. I love being able to, I would love to be able to like take my phone out and like, we see the coolest stuff that I can't even describe to you. The Northern Lights, the, Starlink. I'm wildly passionate about what I do, and there's a reason. It's because it's freaking awesome. But there are so many weird stipulations that, quite frankly, don't need to be there. Like, is there a reason that I shouldn't be able to put a GoPro up? No, but I don't know the legalities behind that, so I would have to dig in. I don't think you can, though. I think the legalities say that you cannot do that, as much as I don't see why not, and as much as I would love for people to see what we truly see, because it's crazy. Like, and you can see it on flight sim, right? Yeah. The difference in the window being on the side of the plane, this little tiny window, versus what we see in the cockpit is insane. The stuff that we fly into, like flying into Seattle or San Diego or, Nevada, flying into Las Vegas and seeing like the Hoover Dam or seeing the Grand Canyon or like the lights, seeing the sphere out there from 80 miles away. I can see that sphere. That stuff is so cool to me, and I would love to be able to give that to people who either aren't pilots, unfortunately, who could never be pilots. Like that is the thing that kills me. There's people who are born, unfortunately, with, I was talking to one of the subscribers earlier, and he was like, I have a heart thing. Wow. That I'll never be able to be a pilot. And that breaks my heart, man, because I'm like, the stuff we get to see is phenomenal. But I love that, like, Microsoft Flight Sim is getting so real now that just because you can't do it for a living, that doesn't mean you can't experience that.
Exactly.
Like, change the time, man. The other day I was flying on Flight Sim. I see this stuff on a real life basis, and I'm flying Microsoft Flight Sim. I was flying, 7.3 or something, and like I changed the time, and I was in Washington State, which I love to fly around there, and like there was the clouds and the sun, and I'm like, Shayna, look, that's my wife. I'm like, Shayna, look how cool this is.
That is awesome.
And she's like, dude, you see this every day. And I'm like, I know, but look how cool this is. Look at the sunset. Look at the rainbow. Like,
wow,
it's just crazy.
Cool. Wow. Let me go ahead and get this plane down. Here we go. Alrighty. That was a lot of turbulence. We just landed here in the beautiful Maui. But that was a great answer. I love how Flight Simulator is definitely doing a lot of stuff to try to get it to feel like real life. I'm glad to hear that you as a real pilot can actually see the realism there, put it into it. So I'm looking forward to it. The new Flight Simulator 2024 will be coming out this year actually. So I'm looking forward to that also. But shout out to you, OWLS. Good to see you, man. How was your stream earlier? Good to see you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Much love. Definitely don't want to keep you too long, so make sure Captain Nick, let us know. Don't want to keep you hostage at all. You've been on with us for an hour and a half, so thank you so much for that, man. If you want to keep going, I would love to have you. We got more questions.
Yeah, keep firing, man.
Awesome.
I might get a little busy. We're meal prepping. That's one of the things that
no problem.
I want to talk to people about. You know, when they're like, "Oh, I want to be a pilot," I'm like, "There's stuff that goes into this. Like, you're dealing with my daily life right now." My wife, fortunately, is an amazing cook.
Awesome.
And she is always my ride or die. She's my rock. She's my pillar.
That's
and she's
awesome,
over here right
man.
now making sure that I'm ready for the 3-day trip I'm about to do. She's over here making my food.
That is
She's
amazing.
A rock star, dude.
Shout out to your wife. That is awesome. I think I saw a question before 1 second, but yeah.
She just sent you heart hands.
Hey, let's go. Thank you so much for sending me heart hands on TikTok. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That is amazing. We have another question here. It says, do you get random drug tests before flights?
Yes. We are, we sign stuff away saying we are more than welcome to give them. Now, I'll tell you, it's kind of weird. Most of the time, it's actually after our flights. So it's kind of ironic that they don't do them beforehand. But yeah, they can come and they do a urinalysis and they'll do a breathalyzer to check for, toxins in your urine and toxins in like if you're drinking. And then, like we were talking about the Miracle of the Hudson, man, they take them immediately. And it's like, you're doing blood. I don't know if they do hair still. I think that might be a case by case. But yeah, you are very dude, I'm very by the books. Like, we're allowed to drink within a certain amount. I don't even drink on trips. Like, it's not worth it. I love my career. I don't drink on trips at all.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't drink in real life much anyways, but I definitely don't drink on trips because we have a timeline. It's like, oh, well, as long as it's not within 10 hours or whatever, I just don't do it. And then obviously drugs, we just can't do anything. So yeah, you're susceptible at any time. It could be before the trip, after the trip, during the trip. Like, you just land at a random airport and then there's a guy there with a clipboard and he'll point at you, and it always works out that you just used the lav right before descent. Wow. Right before you started your descent into somewhere, and you look over and the dude's got a clipboard and you're like, oh my God. So you have to sit there and drink a bunch of water.
Wow. That's insane. Well, once again, appreciate you so much for that, man. I really, really love doing these podcasts with you. Right now, we're just trying to figure out our last flight of the night. Let me see. Somebody said Memphis to Dallas. So let me go look up the Memphis to Dallas real quick. All right. So I want to see how long their flight is. Do you, off the top of your head, do you think you know how long that flight is? Don't want to put you on the spot, but Memphis, Tennessee to
Memphis,
Dallas.
I mean, I would just
let me
guess
see.
an hour 15, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm terrible at that number. That game.
Got you. Yeah, guys, we're looking for
9 hours. I'm I don't know, 42 minutes.
Got you. We're looking for a 45-minute flight, guys. So nothing over an hour. Something nice and short to finish off the live. But I'm still gonna check it out. KMEM. Memphis over to, you said Dallas. Dallas is KDAL.
That a boy. Don't use Dallas Fort Worth. Use Dallas
Love Field. It's an hour. A little bit too long. So the person that suggested it is a little bit too long. You were right on the money. For 1 hour and 10 minutes. You said 100 an hour and 15. That's awesome.
Look at maybe Sacramento to San Diego. Or,
all right, let's see.
Yeah.
All right, so Sacramento over
SMF. Smurf. No, Smurf. SMF.
Oh, us SMF. Okay, got you. SMF.
To San Diego, SAN.
All right, to SAM.
KSM. That would be 30 or 40 minutes, I'm thinking.
Oh, 37 minutes. That's perfect. KSM is Santa Margarita. It says it's perfect. All right. So guys, we looking like we can finish off with a beautiful West Coast flight suggested by the awesome Captain Nick. This is perfect. 36 minutes. If you guys want to hop on this flight, I don't think we've ever done this route ever on stream, so that'll be awesome to do. So feel free to join, guys, if you want to hop on for this short flight. It's from KSMF runway 17. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, runway 17 left over to KSAM.
SAN, Sierra Alpha November.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, okay. KSAN. Got you. Oh, San Diego, got you.
It
Okay,
should be about the
55 minutes.
same.
Yeah, 55 minutes, same thing. Over to San Diego. So feel free to join, guys. This is going to be a beautiful flight. KSAN. Let me go ahead and arrival. 53 minutes.
And
Perfect.
You have to land on, what is that, runway 27
27
in San Diego. I swear I've never not once landed on runway 9 ever. It doesn't work.
Because I was trying to avoid the little U-turn. Yeah,
you have to land over the city, over that parking garage. And while you're in flight, you let me know, and I'll tell you a fun story about that parking garage.
Got you. You know what? Let me do that. Let me go KSAN. And I'm gonna choose
it's runway
27. Yep, you got it right. 27. Yeah, so we're gonna have to make a big U-turn. Let me go ahead and set this up real quick.
Yeah, go in on the north side of that airport.
Yeah,
that's what we always do. Like, we'll fly on the north side, right downwind, so the airport should be on your right, the water should be on your right, and then you fly around the mountains, come in over the mountains, and land on the 27.
Somebody said, JJ said he's going to be flying Southwest for this flight. Awesome, man.
Boy.
Let's get it. All right, so once again, guys, the flight codes are KSMF over to KSAN. Runways are 17 left to 27. Feel free to join, man. Here we go. That is awesome. Let me see. Rocco said he's going to be using a different plane. Awesome. Yeah, I should have switched over to Southwest too. A little bit too late, but yeah.
You should have. Whip.
Oh man. What's up, Sean? Good to see you. Says Trip, I'm sorry I didn't join last stream because I started at 2 p.m. Yeah, not 1 a.m. Sean. 2 p.m. Yeah, we had a 2 p.m. stream and we streamed from 2 till 5.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah. Nice little afternoon stream. It was pretty nice. Rocco said he's going to be using the C700, the private jet. Nice. And Brian said he switched to the Airbus A319, American Airlines. Nice. Shout out to American Airlines. Said he bought the wrong 777. What? No way. Alrighty. Once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. We're about to do our last flight. If you're just hopping on, make sure you guys smash that like button. We have 40 likes right now. We're trying to get to 50. Thank you so much for hopping on as you're about to take off and head over to KSAN. And we're on the phone with Captain Nick, captain for Southwest. Awesome pilot. Here we go. Chloe, you joined the Discord? Awesome. All right, here we go. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. Oh, we're flying FedEx, so we got no flight attendants, but here we go. No flight attendants at all. All right, so up, and away.
That's what I say every takeoff.
Awesome. No way.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But I'd like to be Superman, so that'd be cool.
That is pretty cool. Oh man, and that's pretty cool that you said your family's favorite holiday is Halloween. That's cool. That's cool also.
Yeah, we love Halloween, man. You can be anyone you want on Halloween. We love that.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right. V1 rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. All right, so we are up on the way. But guys, if you guys have any more questions for Captain Nick, feel free to ask. I think I missed a few, so let me go and scroll through, scroll back up and see if we have any more questions. Oh yeah, Kelsey did have a question. Sorry about that, Kelsey. If you're still here, shout out to you. She said, recently I was able to meet someone from the FAA, and they recommended the Wings program for any pilots in training. She said, I don't know how much I don't know much about it, but I do think I should participate in a program? ?
Yeah. It's never a bad thing. Wings is, so I've never done it. As a CFI, and your other CFI can attest to this, you can actually do the Wings program as, like credit building, if you will, towards renewing your CFI. So every 2 years, to keep my CFI current, I have to renew my CFI. I just got that email the other day, and I was like, dang it. So you have to renew your CFI every 2 years, and you can use the Wings program to help renew it. And it's cool because it's like you take these classes, and I think a lot of them are online now. You used to have to go to them, but I think a lot of them are online. And it's like, it'll be like a weather course, and you just like literally learn a ton about weather. And it's from people who are way, way qualified to do this, which is awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a ton of different programs. It might be aerodynamics, or it might be weather, or it might be performance, or whatever. It's some great stuff.
Wow.
Definitely look into it if you have the time. They're pretty intensive from what I remember. So like a lot of us as CFIs will do like ACFI or AOPA or I can't remember some of the other names, but like, we do like a class, and it's like you have to get like 6 hours worth of this, and then you can renew your CFI after you take all these tests. But yeah, Wings is a good program.
Got you. Nice. Somebody had said, I thought JFK would be the worst airport. JFK.
It's up there. JFK is unique in the sense that, like, you can fly into JFK and it's just dead. Like there's no one there. And then, well, it's just like Memphis. Then you get like the push. Because you got to think, most people going in and out of JFK, they're going international. Most international flights happen around the same time. They don't stagger those because they want you to like take off at night so you can sleep on the flight, and then when you land in Paris or whatever, you're landing in the morning and you're ready to go for the day. And so they all take off at like the same time. And so if you get caught in that, JFK turns into a disaster real quick. Wow. But for like 90% of the day, JFK is really, really chill.
Wow, nice. Me personally, I would think also that JFK would be super, super packed and very, very condensed, but that's good to know. It's good to know. Pedro, what's up, man? Good to see you. Right now, we're just on the phone right now with a real-life captain. His name is Captain Nick. Flies for Southwest. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Much love. Hobie, also the CFI, he said you could also use Wings credits to count towards your flight reviews. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice. Good stuff. Awesome. Hey, what's up, nerdy anime lover? You said Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you too, man. Much love to you guys. Happy New Year's to everyone. Yes, thank you so much, Brian. The airport codes are KSMR over to KSAN. If you guys want to join this flight, it's going to be the last flight of the night. Once again, welcome to the stream. Somebody asked, Xbox asked, what was the shortest runway you ever landed on, and how was it like landing there? Was it challenging landing on a short runway?
Shortest. So I mean, Key West was one of them, and now they've increased the distance, and so it's it doesn't feel so bad. But like at one point, Key West was crazy short. Orange County is always a tricky one to get into. Orange County is very short, and there's a lot of general aviation traffic going all around you. And then we land in Chicago Midway a lot. I mean, we also land in Chicago O'Hare, but we do Chicago Midway. And Midway is a very short runway, and it seems shorter because there's like a wall at the end of it. So most runways, just because the runway ends, there's like grass and there's, whatever. Not here, dude. Like there's just a wall. And like that wall is very intimidating because even though it's like a 5,500 foot runway, it feels like it's like 1,000 feet. It's very short. But yeah, I think Orange County is one of them as well. Now, and that's the air, that's just like on my airline career. When I was flying general aviation, I used to land at fields that were, 800 feet all the time. So we landed some really short ones when you fly general aviation, but in the airlines, most of our runways are somewhere around the 5,000 plus range.
Wow. Got you. That sounds awesome. Once again, guys, if you're just joining, this is Captain Nick. I see Amani's confused. Well, this is Captain Nick. He's a Southwest pilot. He's telling us about his life as being a pilot. His awesome job. But once again, thank you so much for answering that question, Captain Nick. Somebody asked, Willie asked, Captain Nick, do you always have butter landings? Do you ever bounce on your landings?
I've been fortunate not to bounce. In a 7.3, if you bounce, you generally go around right afterwards.
Really?
Now, yeah, it's not worth trying to salvage. So here's how I want you to imagine a landing. Landing, every approach is a go around, unless it's essentially perfect, right? So if you feel bad, there's a deer on the runway, you bounce it, you get some wind shear, like, dude, just go around, do it again. You know what I mean? Like we don't look at, the second you start to look at a landing is like, I have to land. There's a very hazardous attitude that you have right there. And we have those guys, it's the last flight of the day. There's some bad weather. We're all tired. It's like, you kind of get that hazardous attitude of like, no, I'm landing. That's not a good attitude to get into. So you should imagine every landing is a go around. Every landing is a missed approach. Unless everything is feeling right, and then you land it. Is every landing butter? Absolutely not. Now I'm not leaving plane parts on the runway or anything, but yeah, it's just we and we don't want them to all be. You know, if I'm landing and it's raining and it's pretty heavy wind, dude, I'm not looking for style points. Like, I want to get the plane on the ground.
Exactly.
And if it's raining or it's snowing, I actually do want it to be a firm landing.
Yeah.
People come up and they're like, dude, that was hard. And you're like, yeah, you're trying to cut through the surface tension.
Exactly.
I don't want to hydroplane. I don't want to go off the runway.
Yeah.
And so you actually, it's funny if it's raining, like you go into Seattle or Portland, or if it's snowing, you're going into Chicago. I'm not looking to have a butter landing.
Yeah.
I want to cut through the surface tension.
Yeah.
I want friction. I want my wheels on the ground. I'm not looking to butter this landing up.
Got you. That makes a lot of sense. Of sense. That's a great answer. Hobie said, I know 2 pilots who actually hit a deer while landing. Oh boy.
Yep.
A deer.
It has happened.
What?
It has happened.
Oh my goodness, that is tough. Wow. So situations like that would that be the emergency, declare an emergency? You have to call over the fire trucks if you hit a deer. Well, what's a situation like that? You just have to.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is now you've got dinner, right? So we've got dinner on the table, ready to go. No, yeah. I mean, if I hit a deer, man, like, we don't know what kind of damage has been done, and like, it's crazy. It's funny. Like, you'll see these planes tucked up to other planes, and you're like, I don't have a camera on my wing to show me, where this wing is at. I just know by experience. And the deer is the same way. Like, I don't know what kind of damage has been done behind the cockpit because I can only see so much. So I have a gas leak now. Did I have to slam on the brakes, and now my brakes are crazy hot, but I also have a gas leak because of this deer. So yeah, we call it CFR, crash fire rescue. We want to call them out, and they're like our best friends. We want to call them out as fast as possible so that they can figure out, do we need to stay on the runway? Do we need to get off the runway? Do we need to evacuate? Should I get towed into the, to the gate? There's a lot that goes on once you have something like that happen. And it's super rare because they keep these runways very, very cleaned off. But it has happened. It does happen.
Nice. Wow. That is good to know. We had a question here. Antonio, this is a great question. This is a question I would love to know myself. He said, do you hear from the cockpit when the passengers clap after a landing? Sometimes, yeah. If you guys get rowdy enough, which we like, I'm saying, like, we like our passengers get rowdy. Sometimes, yeah. If you're clapping, it's because the flight was so bad that you were nervous, and now you're trying to release some of that nervous energy. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, sometimes I can hear it. But that, it gives us a smile. We have a lot going on, man. Like, when we're touching down, we're trying to do positive exchange of flight controls, or we're stowing reversers, and we're stowing speed brakes, and we're trying to get off the runway, and we've got ATC talking to us, telling us, a taxi route, which if you've ever heard one, like, go on liveatc.net and listen to the taxi instructions, like in Chicago O'Hare. It's no joke. So, like, sometimes we do hear you. Unfortunately, we don't get to revel in it as much as we would like to, because we all have that little bit of, like, yeah, we did good. We all have that little attitude every once in a while, the peacock chest, right?
Got you. That is awesome. Yeah, because sometimes we do, especially if it's a rough flight or we had a lot of turbulence and whatnot. It's always good to clap and applaud the pilots and whatnot. So I always wondered if you guys could hear it. So that's a good question, Antonio. Good question.
And then, like, while you guys are getting off the plane, it's always fun to hear, like, hey, great job.
I actually did that last time.
Great landing. Yeah, that's dude, come up and if we've got a bunch of time, be like, hey, can I see the cockpit? Like, we love to give cockpit tours. And people don't realize, they think you got to be 4 years old to ask that question. Like, I've had like 60-year-olds in there all the time. So yeah, just come up and be like, hey, yeah, can I come up and get a picture? Or can I get a can I see the cockpit? Yeah, come up.
What would the best time to do that? What would be the best time to do that? Before the flight or after the flight?
Yeah, hopefully it's a little bit easier after, but you have to, like, have some situational awareness as to, like, are we late? And if we're late, we're probably late for the next flight too.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll try to sneak one in, but it'll be very quick.
Gotcha.
But yeah, generally after, or if we're boarding way early, then you might be able to do it then as well. But generally after.
Understood. Got you. I will keep that in mind for sure. Brian asked a question. He said, a random odd question here. Has he ever had a fist fight between two passengers while en route and had to be diverted? I see YouTube videos of this all the time. Have you ever had a unruly passengers that had fights where you had to divert to a different place?
Yes. Wow. I think I'm trying to think of like the actual scenario that happened, but I know I've had rowdy passengers and I've had to divert for that. I know I've had to call for police to be at the gate by the time I landed.
Wow.
Now, like, was it a fist fight? Was it just a verbal altercation? Was it someone just way too drunk? There's a lot of things that go into that. But yes, I have had that.
Okay, gotcha.
A couple times, especially, man, you're going to Vegas on a Friday night, and we know, as pilots, if I'm going from like LA to Vegas on a Friday night, I know that flight is about to be rowdy. And so we try to get that flight done pretty quick and get you to your destination, because that can get rowdy real quick.
Understood.
Liquor cabinets are just emptied.
Oh my goodness, that is wild. Pedro, that is a good question. He said, do you carry trading cards? There's a trend going on right now with pilots carrying trading cards. How often do you get asked?
Make me trading cards. I want them, and I have written Southwest to be like, you need to jump on this trend, man, because it's a trend, and it, I hope it lasts forever. Like, I still play Pokemon Go. Like, I want my trading card, man. I got my wife into Pokemon Go too, and I'm like, where's my 7-3 trading card? So if someone wants to find some Southwest 7-3 trading cards, I would love to get in on that. But no, unfortunately, I don't see Southwest carrying them right now. But I think if we make a big enough cause, maybe they will feel like they have to. And we like our pilots ask all the time. We have a group pilot chat. Oh, nice. And we ask Southwest all the time. We're like, why are you not doing this right now? And I know Southwest is very much about like, if they save a penny, then your ticket costs a penny less. So I know that that's a big deal to them. Yeah. But at the same time, like, man, you have to jump on this kind of a trend. So yeah, make some noise, man. Make some noise and write Southwest and get on their TikTok and get on their Twitter page. Like,
that would be so
X,
awesome.
Or whatever it's called now. Like, get them to do these cards, because I want one too.
that will be so awesome, man. But you guys would definitely have to carry like a lot, because if it goes viral and everyone knows about it, trust me, you're gonna have at least 10 persons per flight. People per flight asking you guys.
It would be perfect. I'm gonna take 9 of them.
Oh my god!
I'm 9 of 10 of those people. Like, I fly for the airline, and I'm just gonna ask for more cards.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
I have wallpaper in my house that's just trading cards.
Awesome. So question to you: how do you answer repeat questions? Do you mind if I ask you repeat questions? Because we do have some new people coming in. I see some repeated questions, and you answered these before.
All Aviation is like just going back over and over. I don't mind repeat questions.
Got you. Just wanted to make sure. Greek Feet, thank you so much for hopping on. I think this is your first time hopping in. He asks you, how long does it take to become an airline pilot, and from getting your ultra? How long does it take to become an airline pilot?
Yes, I wish we had trading cards is the answer to that. No, so to become a pilot, that depends on your route. Do you want to go the civilian route? Do you want to go the military route? Are you going into college? Are you not? And then it also depends on your life. So it would probably be a little bit slower going in the stage of life that I'm at right now, because I want to spend more time with my family. But if you're like 16 years old and you've got nothing else going on, you may be able to knock it out very, very quick. So like, my son right now, if you want to be a pilot, like we could start hammering away, because he doesn't have a family. He doesn't have the responsibilities that, someone who's a 35-year-old, maybe all of a sudden it's like, well, you can't just go fly 7 days a week. You've got stuff to do. So I would say, if you really put your foot down, we have people who get, now when I say pilot, that's a very loose term too, because if you're asking how long does it take to get to the airlines, that's a very different question than how long does it take. Like we had Kelsey on earlier, right? Yeah. He is a pilot. She is a pilot. She's got her pilot's license. She has her private license. She has her instrument. She said she's working on her commercial. She's a pilot. So that's a very question. Anyone who has their pilot's license, you are a pilot. So is it just your private? Did that maybe take you, for some people that takes a year. For some people, they can do that in like 3 or 4 months. But I would say, if you want to get your pilot's license, let's just say it's going to take you about a year. You could do it in a lot less time, because like I said, I did all my ratings in about 8 months. But I was just absolutely throttled down And now they have these 0 to hero programs where you could go from knowing nothing about flying to now you're on the right seat of a 737 in like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So it's very, but with those programs, you don't have a life. Like, you don't have a job, you don't get to really have a family, and if you do, those families are rock solid because you're gone 6 days a week, 6-7 hours at a time. It is all consuming. So that question is extremely open-ended.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. Oh, Kelsey said, I don't have my license yet, but I'm sorry if I made it seem that way, but I'm currently working towards my student pilot license and my private pilot license. No problem.
Well, Kelsey, stop lying to me. I thought
maybe it's a different Kelsey.
I know. I'm dude, it's all over the place. But no, seriously, like, I love when I was like a flight instructor, and people are like, so do you want to be a pilot one day? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I teach people how to fly planes. Like, yes, I'm a pilot. So when you hear the word pilot, everyone thinks like 747 captain. That's just not how it is. You're a pilot. I mean, Kelsey is working towards her student pilot's license. She's a pilot.
Yep, exactly.
She's flying a damn plane.
Exactly. Congratulations, Kelsey. Proud of you. We have a question. Captain Nick, have you ever had a bomb threat in air?
No, thankfully.
Not.
Now, I have had threats though. They've just never, knock on wood, been, hey, I have a bomb. Like that's a very, very wildly serious thing that we train for all the time. We train in the simulators. We go over it every, we have like a quarterly, like a distance quarterly learning thing we do. And what's cool is like every plane has a least risk bomb location, LRBR, or LRBO. So like we know where to put it, how to stack it, what kind it might be. Like we have a lot of stuff, a lot of tools that we can use. God forbid we have one of those, but knock on wood, no, I've never had an actual bomb threat.
Gotcha. Awesome. God forbid that never happens. I really hope that never happens. That's awesome. Jacob, hey, what's up, Jacob? Good to see you, man. Shout out to Chloe and Jacob. Thank you so much for hopping on, and Happy New Year to you too also. We have another question here. Let me see. Boom. How long does it typically take from takeoff to cruise at altitude? That question is by Antonio.
That is also a good question, and that is a very variable question too. Sometimes, like if it's cold and you're at sea level, and you have like no passengers on, like let's say it's a ferry flight. Sometimes I do those where it's literally just me and another pilot. Dude, I'm like a rocket, like I'm a rocket ship. I mean, I'm climbing at like 5,000-6,000 feet a minute. And then other times I'm taking off from Denver in the middle of summer. I'm fully loaded. I've got 40,000 pounds of fuel on board. I'm climbing so slow, man. And like this, the Max 8, they don't like to climb quite as well as like a 700. So there's so many variables. Is it a headwind? Because if it's a headwind, I actually get better performance for the climb than I do for like a tailwind. So yeah, that's a very open question, but I would say just imagine you're doing about 2,000 feet a minute. So it's going to take 15-20 minutes or so to get up to cruising altitude.
Got you. Thank you so much. Right to the question. Somebody asked, is it true that Southwest is #1 for departures worldwide?
Yeah, Southwest is #1 in my book in all regards, actually. I don't know. I don't know the statistics on that. We have a very, very good track record for being on time. That's just kind of what we do. We incentivize. It's kind of funny. Like we incentivize the financial aspect of getting passengers to and from on time. Whereas with other airlines, they get paid by like the minute versus the route. And so we're kind of paid by the route. So it doesn't do us any favors to go slow or taxi slow. That's why you see us taxiing like crazy fast around everyone else, because we're incentivized by the route. So the more routes we get done, the better off we're getting paid. Plus we all want to get to like the hotel at the end of the night and call our families and stuff. So we have very, very good, generally on-time performance. That is true. I just don't know the actual facts and figures, and those games like all the time.
Yeah, because Antonio just said there's an article that posted saying that Southwest is #1 for departures in the U.S.
Attaboy.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm just pilot. Good to see you. He said, is it true that Southwest taxis fast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We tend to We tend to break some speed limits there. Yeah, we taxi fast.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's another
Part of
way
our
of getting
blood.
everyone to their destination on time or even early. So that's
Yeah, and that's most of our time can be made up or lost on the ground. It's not like when people are like, "Oh, hey, do you think we can get some shortcuts?" Dude, I can get a 200-mile shortcut and it's going to save like a minute. It's most of our time is made up, like we call it winning or losing. We either win or lose time on the ground. It's made up by the passengers getting on the plane and getting their stuff, put up and sit down quick and check your bags early, and that is where we win and lose time on the ground. So like in Denver, they may plan us to taxi for 30 minutes. Well, if I can taxi faster and get off the ground in 15,
exactly.
I just won 15 minutes in the air.
Exactly.
But once we take off, it's pretty much within a couple minutes of plan. So the actual flight, there's not a lot you can do. And like the difference between going, let's say let's say we got a tailwind, we got a ground speed of 550 knots.
Yep.
The difference between going 500 and 600 on like on an hour and a half flight is you're really not making a whole lot of time. But on the ground, that's where I can win and lose a lot of time.
Wow.
So yeah, we taxi fast.
That is good. As Brian just said, yep, planes don't make money sitting on the ground. That is true.
Right.
Yeah, and flight attendants, we had a flight attendant on here. She said they don't make any money until that door is closed and until
Correct.
Yeah, so definitely important to get up in the sky, get the plane rolling. So that's a good question, by the way. Somebody said, Captain Nick, what is your favorite personal single engine airplane?
Oh man, Fripp and I were talking about this the other day. We were talking about the TBM.
Yep.
It's such a cool plane. PC-12 is a cool plane. I mean, I'm a sucker for a turboprop. But if you're talking about single engine piston, Bonanzas are great. I know I'm leaving out a ton of them, like Lances, RV8s are cool. Kind of hard to beat like the stereotypical Cessna 172, man. Like they do what they're supposed to do. But I'm a big sucker when it comes to a turboprop. So you're not going to get me away from like a TBM or a PC-12.
Gotcha. TBM is a beautiful airplane, man. I don't know. I used to watch this YouTuber. He actually flies private for this private company. He flies TBM. He used to fly from Miami to Bahamas and different places, and it was just awesome. It was awesome to watch. And it's pretty cool that when you're a private pilot for a private company that you can actually film the whole thing. For some companies allow you to like film, vlog your whole life. So they're making money from YouTube and they're making money from the actual airline. So that's pretty cool that
Nice.
that the private they actually allow that to happen. I think his name is Stevo. So shout out to Captain Stevo. You guys can check out his channel. Awesome pilot. Rylan said, what is the scariest thing that happened to you in a plane? I think.
Yeah. So we did talk about that with the oil door. So like, what happened was it blew one of the pistons, or blew a header or something. Whatever happened, something in the engine, like the piston snapped and it started shooting oil all over the windscreen of the plane. So I couldn't actually see out in front of me at all, period.
Wow.
And so I'm flying a plane with, at the time I think I was a flight instructor, but I had a couple people in the plane with me. And I can't see anything. I mean, oil is all over the front of this plane. But what I knew was, like, for example, how to load in an ILS approach, which is something we talk about in Discord a lot.
Yep.
So I loaded in an ILS approach or GPS, whatever it was, and I flew it down pretty low. And then I put the plane into a slip. I was able to see out the side window, and I saw that, yes, I am on track. I am where I think I want to be. And then at the last minute, like the last 50 feet, I kicked it back over and just landed like normal. But that's a lot of pilotage. That's a lot of experience talking at that point, and because that's not something you'd want to do as a fresh, brand new pilot. But that's something that, as a flight instructor, and I'm hoping the other flight instructor who's in here as well, teach your students. I don't care if it's a private, get them under the foggles and teach them the real world stuff. I used to turn the battery off, for example, at night with my students, and all of a sudden, I mean, obviously at an airport that no one else is around, make the radio calls, whatever, but now all of a sudden your student needs to know systems knowledge, and they need to know, like, on the Diamond Star, the flaps are electric. So if you turn the battery off, they're not going to get flaps. But they think, just because your head goes into that wild game of, oh God, what's happening? Like they're trying to put the flaps down still, they don't work. So now you need to extend your final, like things like that. Be a real world flight instructor.
Yeah.
And I prided myself on being a very real world flight instructor. And luckily when that happened to me, it was like, okay, I've trained for this. Like I knew that this was going to come one day. It's not if, it is definitely a when. I mean, if you fly planes long enough, stuff is going to happen. Just like if you drive cars long enough, you're going to bust a tire. You're going to get a rock that hits your windshield. Like it's going to happen. You better be ready for it.
That's true. That's true. I like that. I like that. The comparison you just made. That's awesome. Shout out to you, Brian. Brian said it was cool seeing Lily flying a Dark Star for her first flight. Yeah, that was awesome. Shout out to Lily and Jesse. I'm not sure if they're still here, but shout out to them. And also shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You guys are awesome. We have 44 likes. We're 6 likes away from 50. Keep hitting that like button. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Hit the like button. Load up.
Yes, sir. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I think I got some more. We're going to take about 4 more questions if you guys have any questions, because we're about to land and it's almost 9:30. Well, just want to say thank you so much once again, Captain Nick, for being on with us once again. We have another question here. The question says, let me see. I think I missed a few. Somebody said, is it true that pilots eat crew meals during their flights?
Yeah, I mean, not at Southwest, we don't have crew meals. Well, like when I worked at my last airline, we did do crew meals if the flight was over a certain distance. So like, and I guess that's not true. Southwest, if we go to like Mexico, they'll give us a crew meal to come back, for example. But yeah, and there's a law that we're not supposed to eat the same meal. So like if
I heard about that. Yeah.
So for example, let's say there's an option for chicken and there's an option for whatever else, like a burger. Like we're supposed to split those. And generally, just fun fact, where we got those crew meals, when I worked for my last airline, we had a first class a passenger section, and basically, if it was like a 5 a.m. flight and some people were asleep on the flight, and like the last hour of the flight, they're like, nah, I don't want my meal. Like generally we're gonna split those. They're like, hey, we've got 2 extra meals back here. Do you guys want some? And we're, of course, being pilots, we're like, heck yeah. So that's mostly where this came from. But yeah, there's your contract, like in United's contract, if the flight is over, X amount of hours, then they may get an option for crew meals. Yes.
Oh, okay. Got you. That is pretty cool. That's pretty cool to know. Yeah. Thank you so much for explaining that. Let me see. I think
hold on really quick. I do want to say, anyone who, like you were talking about, one more question. Dude, get on that Discord and put them out there, and I will answer them as much as I can. So even when we get off of here, just throw them in the Discord. At some point, we'll get to them. For sure, I promise. For sure. Just keep asking questions.
Got you. I think Rockout asks, for sure, guys. Feel free to join the Discord. Once again, the Discord is linked in this in the description of this video. Feel free to join and ask Captain Nick any questions you guys want. He will willing and able to help you guys get some information about being a pilot and the life of being a pilot. Rockout said, can you put GoPros to record the flight? I think we asked the question earlier, but can you use
from what I know, I don't think we are allowed to have GoPros in the cockpit. That could be wrong on that, and I hope I am, because it would be cool to kind of get into that scenario, and maybe we can start putting that on the Discord too. But I don't think we can do GoPros. Now what we can do is, if I have a jump seater, if for example I notice that they've taken a video, I might be able to just ask them like, hey man, do you mind sending that to me? And then they'll send the video. Now I have the video, something that I did, which is pretty cool, and then I can put that up, for example.
Gotcha. Nice. Thank you so much. That would be awesome. That would be pretty cool if you actually were allowed to actually have GoPros. Let me see. So Kelsey asks, what has been the most fun aircraft you've flown in so far?
That's not a fair question. That's like, which one of your kids do you love more? Like, you probably do have a favorite. You still want to say it out loud. Anything aerobatic. I love flying aerobatic. I love it. That's a passion of mine. It's something I would like to get back into at some point. General aviation is so much fun. I love flying general aviation, flying like a 172, because you don't have like, I don't want to say you don't have rules, but like you don't have a route to follow. So when I'm flying like the 7.3, It's fun, man. That plane is like a sports car. The 700 specifically is just, the engines are overpowered. The fuselage is smaller. So like that plane is just a Ferrari waiting to be unleashed. That's a lot of fun for me.
That is
And when
awesome.
I get to do like, on like Southwest encourages you to hand fly the plane, whereas other airlines are like, no, keep the automation on. So I actually get to fly that plane around like it's general aviation, but I'm flying $100 million general aviation plane. That plane is a lot of fun. The Embraer was a lot of fun because it was so automated that it was like Iron Man situation. You're kind of just getting flown. Like I was getting flown around in a plane, which was kind of cool.
Wow, that is awesome.
But yeah, I'd say anything aerobatic, man. If you can get your hands on flying an aerobat, that's fun.
That is pretty cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anthony, for the follow on TikTok. I think Hobie the CFI, he said I think normally the GoPro thing comes down to the company policy. See, many companies doesn't allow me to film. Okay, got you. Icy said, Captain Nick, is it true that one pilot gets a different meal because of food poisoning? There's one just in case. Yeah,
that's 100%. We don't need two pilots at the same time getting food poisoning, and I have seen it, and it's kind of a long story, but luckily we had other people up there, so I was jump seating at one point. This was at the beginning of my career, and I was a jump seater, and I was type rated on that plane. It was on my airline, and so I actually took over for this pilot mid-flight, and so we still had someone ready to go. But yeah, we don't want that, man. Like, you don't want people having food poisoning at the same time. So we keep, like, generally we all kind of stay away from fish and chicken anyways, or not fish, but chicken anyways, because you don't want poisoning. So there's not a whole lot of pilots who are eating risky stuff when we're flying around, where we have to, like, I mean, just like what you've seen right now. Like, my wife has been working the last couple hours, and I'm trying to, like, quietly, like, put stuff together as well. Like, we are planning on what I'm eating for the next 3 days.
That is awesome.
And I'm not putting weird stuff in there that might mess with my stomach. So, like, we're very, like, I've got overnight oats here, and I'm going to have 3 salads made, and, like, these are very non-risk. You know what I mean? Like, put tuna fish in the salad. Like, that's
awesome.
You know what I mean? It's just a non-risk situation.
That's cool that you have an awesome supportive wife. Tell her we appreciate her once again, and thank her so much for showing so much love to you and always being there for you and whatnot. That's awesome to have a good wife by your side. So we have one last question here from Alexis. He said, well, actually 2 more questions. Alexis says, Captain Nick, do you receive different aircrafts or the same one when you fly?
I think I know kind of how you're. I don't keep the same.
Okay. I know what you mean.
If that's kind of where that's going.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't have, like, a tail number that is designated to my. Now, like, most of the time though, if I start a day, I tend to keep that same tail number throughout the day. If we have a plane swap, we get a little touchy with that because it's a lot. Like, to we called it building the nest. Like, to build our little nest and, like, get your headset out and get your iPad where you want it and get your bags in place, and we have to make sure the plane's airworthy. We have to make sure the logbook's ready to go. We have to do, like, the walk-arounds. Like, it's a lot that goes in to building your nest. And so I want to keep the same plane all day. But, like a couple of weeks ago, I had 4 flights and 3 plane changes.
Wow.
I'm like, that's just a lot of running around, man. And there's a lot of things can happen. Like, God, did I check the airworthiness? Did I check this? Did I check that? Like, I'm the paperwork, not like the airworthiness of the plane, but, like, the paperwork. Like, did I check all these things? So we try to keep the same plane, but, once again, like, check that Discord, and on the routes section, I take a screenshot of pretty much every day that I'm flying. I'll take a screenshot, I'll post it on there really quick. And if you see a little tiny, like, airplane in between 2 flights, it means I'm having a plane change there. So you can kind of keep up with that. I'll take a picture here in just a minute, and I'll put it up on the Discord. That's awesome. And you'll see what I'm talking about, if I have a plane swap or not.
That's good to know. Thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling us that. That's good. And one last question of the night from Antonio. He said, how does meal prepping work as a pilot? Like, how do you heat the food up?
Ask my wife how this works. So you will hopefully like eating things cold, and you will start to figure out what things work for you. So salads work for me because I can keep an ice pack in my flight bag and I can keep everything cold. Overnight oats work for me because they're good cold. We used to do, we tried, oh my God, how many different things have we tried over the years? Yeah, just a ton.
Wow.
And you know, it's like, does it work best in tinfoil? Does it work best in a, like, do you need a napkin on it? So like for salads, what's weird is if you put like a napkin on top of it when you put your Tupperware bowl on, it helps absorb that water and so it doesn't get wilty. Like, you just start to learn stuff over time. And like eggs are one of those weird ones where, like, let's say you make hard-boiled eggs, they release a water, which is nasty. And so like on day 2 of a trip, you got these watery hard-boiled eggs and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. But if you put them in there with that napkin, all of a sudden they're good. So you will start to learn what things you like and what things are good cold. Like, I like these, we make sausage, egg, and cheese bowls. Those are good cold just as well as they are hot. And sometimes you have a trick, like if you have some cool flight attendants and you have something wrapped up in aluminum foil, they can put it on the burner where they make coffee. And they can actually, and 99% of the time it's actually just them making their own food. But sometimes if they're cool, they'll be like, hey, do you mind if, do you want me to warm something up? And you're like, yes, please. I don't rely on that just because you never know who you're flying with next.
That's true.
I just kind of learned to make things cold and then you eat them cold. We don't have like a microwave up there or anything.
Yeah. Wow. As Brian said, so you can't bring a hot plate and heat up your own food? That's crazy.
Not in the cockpit, man. I mean, we don't have the plugins for it, but you can't, like, we do have people, they're called like Hot Logic, and they are hot plates, and they put like glass containers, like, you carry like Pyrex, and you put food in there, and then you put them in these Hot Logics, like in your room or while you're sitting in an airport, and it can't, they can heat them up. But I don't have any, like, and even if I do, which I do, I have plugins actually for like my iPad and things like that in the cockpit, but I'm not going to like plug in a Hot Logic while I'm flying. It's just, that just seems like you're asking for trouble.
That's true. Got you. Thank you so much, Captain Nick. Tonight has been awesome. I can't believe you spent the whole night with us, man. That was amazing. 2 hours and 30 minutes on stream with you. That was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. I'm gonna look for any more questions. No more questions for right now, but we have about 8 minutes left on stream, 8 minutes until we land. So we really 100% appreciate you so much for answering every single question. As everyone is saying in the chat right now, they're saying thanks, Captain Nick. We really appreciate the insights, and you definitely shed a lot of light for everyone that wants to be a pilot or curious about the life of being a pilot. So once again, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I love being here, man. Thanks for giving me this platform to talk on. And like I said, just ask them in the Discord if you have any more questions, and I'll try to answer them there.
Awesome. We got to do some investigating and try to see the pilot that's also in the chat from JetBlue. I really want to figure out who that is so we can have him on the podcast. If I'm going to check and see.
I'll at them.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
In the Discord thing.
Also, Hobie, I would love to have you on. He's the CFI. Much love to you. Everyone is saying thank you. Riley said thank you. Alexis, Hobie, Willie, Chloe, Kelsey said thank you so much, Captain Nick. I hope to catch another stream in the future. Shout out to you, Kelsey. Much love to you.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Really enjoyed that session indeed, Captain Nick, and hope you have a wonderful night. You said you have a three-day trip coming up. So
starting tomorrow, man.
Wow, starting tomorrow. So be safe, and we love and appreciate you, man. Just know you are part of the family, and much love to you, man. Hopefully you think about us when you're flying. Thank you so much love.
Always, man. Always. You guys are loved. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and
awesome.
Yeah, anyone who wants to be a pilot, man, keep writing questions. I'll keep answering.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Have a wonderful night and stay safe, man. God bless.
All right, see you guys.
All right, thank you, man.
Bye.
All right, guys, and that was Captain Nick. That was an awesome session with Captain Nick. Once again, thank you to Captain Nick for that amazing session. That deserves a round of applause. He spent 2 hours, 2.5 hours with us, man. That is crazy. Really appreciate him for taking time out of his day to talk to us like that, man. Hobie, yes, sir, I will be live tomorrow. I would love if you were able to hop on with us. That would be amazing. If you're able to hop on and share some awesome stories with us and answer some questions, that would be awesome. We'll be live tomorrow at, I think, around the regular time, around 7 o'clock or so. Should be regular time, 7 o'clock. But yeah, Brian, you're only 40 nautical miles away. Sheesh. That is crazy. Once again, JJ, the sim rate is not on. I see you keep saying that, but it's not on, sir. But once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Appreciate you guys so much for joining as we're about to land in the beautiful SFO. We are now, let me see how much nautical miles. Oh, we just literally are flying over the airport. Awesome. So Hobie says should be able to join tomorrow, probably for the podcast. Awesome. Great. All right, so we were so caught up in the amazing podcast that we actually flew over the airport. The airport is right here, actually. So yeah, Hobby, we would love to have you on tomorrow. Looking forward to that podcast with you. You've been a long time member of the channel, man. You've been hopping on and chilling with us for a few months, so we'd love to hear your experience and whatnot. So looking forward to having you on tomorrow, man. Yeah, JJ, I don't know if you missed it, but we spoke about the tomorrow flight, and I think Brian and everybody else said they wanted me to pick tomorrow's flight. So after the stream, I'm probably going to pick a nice Caribbean flight for tomorrow, and we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that right after stream. Alrighty. Let me go to switch on the landing music as you're about to do our last landing of the night. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Chloe said Aruba. Alrighty. The aircraft, yeah, that would be a good idea, but I'm kind of trying to land, so it'd be hard to type out the aircrafts and land this airplane right now. So 1 second. All right, here we go. Speed break. Brian, is Rock out flying? I don't think he's fine. He was on a few minutes ago. Not sure. JJ said, I really enjoyed the stream. Let's go. Shout out to you, JJ, man. Appreciate you so much. Let me see. I see the airport right here. Should I try an acrobatic landing? Or should I actually do a go around? Let me see. Can I pull this off? You know what? Let's have some fun. Oh, you play FIFA. Got you, Rock out. Make sure you get them practice up, man. You got to practice up. For sure. I am landing before you, Brian? That's crazy. All right, here we go. He said you landed a while ago. Oh, so Rock out, you landed a while ago. Awesome. Hobie said pull it off. All right, cool. Here we go. Let's try to do some tricks right here. So we're going to see what we can do. Oh, boy. If anybody's just joining right now, they're going to be like, what is he doing? Well, we're just having fun right now on the last landing of the night. Trying to get this FedEx plane to land. We have the speed brakes out, the flaps out. This speed brake, the speed is going to be too fast, honestly. So I won't be able to bring the landing gear down unless we get down to like 250 knots. We're at 350 right now. So let's see what happens. Oh boy. Here we go. Yeah, most likely we're going to have to do a go around. So coming from 27, as Captain Nick suggested, is beautiful and very beautiful indeed. Right over the city. Awesome. Brian said he's right behind me. Awesome. Chloe said he added me. Oh, she added me. Awesome. All right, so how many of you guys think we're going to pull this off? I don't know. I'm looking at my airspeed. We got to drop below 250 knots to actually pull this off to get our landing gear down. Oh boy, let's see. Come on, let me. Yeah, landing gear is not coming down. We are 271. Oh boy. Yeah, Antonio, Captain Nick did forget to tell us a story about the parking garage. Hopefully next time for sure he'll be able to tell us. All right, so we got our landing gear down at 263 knots. But man, oh man, we're coming in super hot right now. Oh my goodness. Willie said he landed 9 out of 10. Nice. I'm liking the... No, I'm not liking it at all. Let's say pull the nose way up. Ooh, that worked. Oh my goodness. This is going to be bad. And this runway is not the longest at all. So most likely we're going to have to go around. Yeah, we're going way too fast. 200, why isn't it dropping? 260 knots. Yep, this is definitely a go around. Sheesh. You know what? Let's see if we can use what you call, what's this? This is not slow mode. I forgot what this is called. It's already late. Don't want to keep you guys any longer. Let's just pull this back. There we go. All right, let's try again. Beautiful sunset off to our left-hand side. Here we go. Speed is finally dropping. We are actually dropping. Very, very low approach. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Hobie, it was stuck at 288 knots, 244 knots for some reason. That was strange. Because I have the speed brake out and it's still not dropping. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to land with the speed brake out. Super low approach. Oh boy. Said you accidentally went to LAX? No way. It happens, man. Oh, don't want to land too early. At least. All right, let's get it down. Ooh. Still kind of fast approach. It's going to be bouncing like crazy. The game is glitching. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful San Diego. Well. Appreciate you guys so much, man. You guys have been awesome. We had an awesome night tonight with Captain Nick. And we had an awesome time chilling with you guys, talking. Once again, happy New Year to everyone, man. Much love to you guys. You guys know what your New Year's resolution is. Keep working towards it. You got it. You can do anything with God. Feel free to hit us up in the Discord. The Discord is linked in the description. Once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Antonio, Brian, Alexis, Chloe, Willie, Rylan, Hobie, JJ. Every single person in this chat right now, much love to you. If you're new, thank you so much and welcome to the channel. If you're a long-time member, thank you so much for rocking with us and supporting the channel for all these months and all these years. Really appreciate you guys, man. You guys have been awesome. Had an awesome time with you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. See you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll be having Hobie on the chat. He's an awesome CFI. See you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. God bless. Peace.